Let me repay a favor.
God damn it, Tom. Welcome back, everybody, to Encounter Roleplay. My name is Will. I'm a D&D sex icon, and I'm back today for yet another episode of Call of Cthulhu Masks of Nyarlathotep, and we've got the full cast and crew back with us today for another sanity-draining, bowel-wrenching episode. So let's go around the cast and remind ourselves of who we are and who we'll be playing tonight. And let's start with Grimjack21502. Greg, how's it going tonight?
I'm just so happy. It is where it's at. It is 1 to 4 Eastern. It is time to do some Cthulhu with my friends. Today I will be playing foreign correspondent and doting husband Marcus Jordan. Never really been accused of anything that's stuck. We'll see if that changes throughout the course of the next 3 hours. Honey?
I'm an innocent housewife, trophy wife, really. Catherine Jordan, Marcus's darling, dear, beloved wife, who's, never been in jail before. But we're out of jail now, so I guess she's been in there once. But false charges. They couldn't hold us on anything. Diplomatic immunity. It was great. And now we just, winding down for the evening. Good night's sleep in Mr. So-and-so's house. Mr. Mordechai's house.
Dr. Mordechai Lemming's house, yes.
Yes.
Indeed, I remember these names too before I look them up every week. Good. We have Tom, Redundant UK, back with us tonight. Tom, how's it going, my friend?
Yeah, not too bad. Just ruining intros. It's just what I do. I'll be playing Dr. Lucian Ernest, who is in pretty rough shape, still pretty rough. He's had a good night's sleep, but this isn't D&D, folks. Oh, no. It takes more than a good night's long rest to heal in this game. So I will hopefully be avoiding any combat as best I can. But looking forward to kind of like hiding behind barrels and all that jazz. Yeah, totally safe. Cannot get one-shotted.
Whatever you do, though, don't hide behind the red barrels because they're all explosives. So you always have to watch out for that. Great stuff. Well, we have Pruitt back with us tonight. Pruitt, how's it going, my friend?
Oh, it's going great. It's good to be back. It's good to get to this and see if this lemming guy is going to drive us off a cliff. I think that we'll take care of him before that happens. But I will be playing, once again, as always, Koskov Romanovich, everyone's favorite Russian weapons dealer, the Ghost Rider, the right hand of chaos himself. So I can't wait to see what crazy shit that hopefully I get to cut open this week.
Oh, yeah. Great stuff. And, of course, we have Don back with us tonight. Don, how's it going, my friend?
It's fantastic. I'm really glad to be back playing Tennessee Gray. Stuntman from Hollywood. Had some rough times over the past few years. Kind of homeless. Kind of spent a lot of time sleeping in his car. And he is thankful for several nights of having an actual bed that he has talked his way into. And that now Tom's character is more injured than he is. So things are looking up for Tennessee.
It really is just a scale of, in comparison to everyone else in the party, how injured are you, not if you are injured. Because it really just takes one person that you can throw behind as Cthulhu chases you in order to survive. So before we get into tonight's game, I, of course, will be the keeper of arcane lore. Couple of things. First of which is that we're sponsored here today by FantasyGrounds.com, our virtual tabletop of choice, so definitely go and check those guys out. A demo version is free. You can play Call of Cthulhu, D&D, whatever game you want, really, on Fantasy Grounds. WaylandGames.co.uk, up to 20% off the retail value for tabletop board games, war games, and more. And TabletopLoot.com, our dice sponsor. At the end of each game, they give away a set of dice to you guys in chat, so go and check those guys out. I think they may still have a sale on at the moment. Maybe that's over. I don't know, but check it out. And of course, here is the tweet for you guys. 20 retweets of your decision, where you get to decide something which happens next in our campaign. Now, personally, I would hate for something bad to happen to these guys. It would just really tear me up. Like, some kind of arch villain from a previous episode, or some kind of Brophy brother incident. That would be terrible. I would just hate that, and I would never feel right if something like that happens. So what I don't want you to do is go and retweet that tweet to make something like that happen. But of course you can donate to affect the game as well by giving players nat 1s, nat 20s, wild magic surges, and worse. I particularly hinge on the worst side of that argument. So, but before we get into today's game tonight, I will remind you guys of what happened last week on the show, because the party had a very interesting episode getting out of jail from the police. Now, as ever with a Call of Cthulhu episode, a whole lot happened, so I suggest you go back and watch the last episode. But basically, they managed to get themselves out of jail with Captain Robson, thanks to the help of their lawyer. Catherine, Marcus, and it seems as well Lucian's lawyer managed to get them out, while Koskov and Tennessee almost hatched a bomb plot, but were just about convinced by a mysterious caller on a telephone to not do that. And this mysterious caller seemed to know a whole lot about the party, things that they couldn't possibly know, things that happened in Peru, things about Koskov's sister. Managed to convince them not to blow everything up for some reason. But the party were then sort of, I guess, reunited in the back of the car as Mr. McCarthy, the lawyer, drove them through New York and sort of dropped them off at this large warehouse. Inside the warehouse were the bodies of two people that were very recognizable to the party. One, Augustus Larkin, and De Mendoza, two men who they had met in Peru that they now know to have been involved in death cults and some kind of horrific creature known as the Father of Maggots that they saw in Peru years before. Mr. McCarthy said that you could look at the bodies and do with what this investigation that you will. However, this is the last chance for the Jordans as far as Mr. McCarthy and whatever organization he works for is concerned. The party then decided to go and meet with Dr. Mordechai Lemming, a seemingly quite bumbling professor who is very excited in archaeology and the Peru expedition. He seems to think the party are something of famous in the circles that he works in, though he was somewhat concerned about exactly saying which circles it was he moved in. But he told them that he once owned a book named Africa's Dark Sects, which is one of the leads that the party are following, but it seems to have been stolen or gone missing from his house. The only lead that he has for the party was the House of Juju down in Harlem. And that seems to be one that the party are about to follow as they go to bed and rest. The last thing that we saw as an audience was a camera panning into Dr. Mordechai Lemming's room, and he was on the telephone assuring someone that he would absolutely make certain of something. Now, the party also have a couple of meetings on their agenda today. The first is that they have a meeting with Professor Antony Cowles, who was doing a lecture for one night only here in New York, which unfortunately they missed due to being being shot and attacked by a cult, as happens and often screws up your dinner plans. And the second is that Marcus Jordan has a meeting with Hilton Addams, the man who has been accused by Captain Robson and the New York Police Department of a series of murders which have taken place in Harlem. So we pick up in the morning after Marcus and Catherine were having a bit of a tiff in the evening, and Dr. Mordecai was on the phone. We wake up in the morning. Who would be the first to rise in Dr. Mordecai's apartment?
Costco will probably be awake pretty early. He's fairly healthy and generally only sleeps a few hours every night anyway. So he's probably up with the dawn. Okay.
So, yeah, you're up early enough, as is Dr. Mordechai Lemming, who comes out in a sort of long bathrobe. He kind of squints down the corridor. He says, Mr. Romanovich, come, why don't we get some coffee? It's very early.
Yes, it's that early for coffee. I'll just have this. And he pulls a flask out and takes a nip off of it.
Right you are. He kind of bustles down into the kitchen and starts flailing away at some pots and pans to try and make some kind of breakfast and brew some coffee as well. And as he takes a long sip from the draft, he says, that's better. So what's on the agenda for you all today then? There's lots of very confusing talk last night. I have to say I didn't make sense of all of it, but it seemed, well, important.
Perhaps we look for this book. I don't know. I mean, I just got into town, so I will go with what group wants. But What can you tell us about this book, this African dark sex?
Sects. It's
sex.
Yes, it refers to groups in Africa who cults, I suppose. You could call them. Yes, it's a very old book. I believe there are only 13 of them ever to be known in existence. The rest of them were burnt by the police force due to the nature of being somewhat, shall we say, blasphemous. But from my recollection of it, it had a great deal of information on various different death cults and the like, which our mutual friend Jackson Elias was very interested in. I mean, there are many of them, and not all of them have names as such, but yes, it's a singularly fascinating tome. I can't believe that I would have misplaced it. Perhaps I did there.
Seems awfully inconvenient.
Certainly it is. Afraid I wish I could be more helpful about it. The author was one Nigel Blackwell, but there's no evidence of him ever existing.
Could be a ghostwrite name.
Could well be. If he was considered himself in danger, then could be that some of these explorers and writers who don't seek fame change their names in order to protect their identities. It's not the strangest thing, I suppose.
And when you misplace book?
Well, the last time I saw it must have been around 2 months ago.
Well, perhaps it turned up.
Perhaps it does. I'll take another look around the library before you all head out this morning. Tell me if you would, Mr. Romanovich. I read the reports from Peru, and Mr. Elias was under the impression that you were seeking someone, a girl.
And Koskov gives him like a good long, like about 10 seconds.
He's clearly uncomfortable by the look.
I was seeking my sister. And I found her, in manner of speaking.
What was the manner in which you found her, if you don't mind me asking?
Another 10 seconds goes by. She was taken by those men. And so I blew them up. But she was taken by, something.
Oh, goodness, that is absolutely awful. Do you know why?
Sacrifice? Isn't that what cults do?
I suppose so. It's an awfully strange coincidence, though, isn't it?
It is. And here we are again, together.
Yes, well, very sorry for your loss. I didn't know it was so personal for you, but, let's move on to breezier subjects, shall we? I'll go take another look around the library while everyone wakes up.
I will go wake up everyone.
Right you are.
He just kind of leaves the room.
Okay. Do you go and wake everyone up, or you just let everyone wake up?
No, he just leaves. Just to kind of be alone after. It's not a subject he likes talking about.
Mm-hmm. So who's up next?
I think Tennessee, when he gets up, would go to the library immediately without asking for permission.
Yeah. No, you spot Dr. Mordechai Lemming, who's sort of thumbing through books, and he in his robe. Oh, Mr. Gray. Just having another look around here for Africa's dark sects. I'm afraid I haven't had any luck so far, but perhaps the morning light will help me prevail.
What'd you say you're looking for there? Africa's dark sects?
sects. Yes.
Right, yeah. Any luck finding it?
No, I'm afraid not. Not yet, at least. I'm afraid, as well, I may have rather upset our friend, Mr. Romanovich. I asked him about what had happened in Peru. I was always interested in what might have happened searching for a woman there, and he told me about his sister and the like. Well, I just feel awful.
Oh, Dr. Mordechai, what happened in Peru was a traumatic experience for all of us. None of us so much, perhaps, as Mr. Romanovich. So I would suggest you stay cautious around him.
Right you are, yes, right you are. He's,
Why were you asking about his sister? Why were you curious?
it's something that I've read about in passing, struck me as odd, I suppose, and, well, with Jackson dead, I never got the chance to ask.
Right, well, you said we could take a look around your library here and maybe find a hint as to what happened to your book. Is this the entirety of your collection?
Yes, it is. Feel free to peruse. There's several tomes of some interest around, I suppose. Feel free to borrow whatever it is you need. Although, if you're looking for a really extensive library of the arcane, then the only place to go is the Carlyle Mansion, I'm afraid.
The Carlyle Mansion, is that here in New York City?
Oh, well, that's, actually, I have to check whether it is here in New York or not. I'm pretty sure it's in England. You see, the Carlyles, they were explorers throughout the course of history. I mean, it's not just this young Carlyle on his expedition at the moment. There are a bunch of them throughout history who have been searching all over and bringing it back to, their family mansion. As such, I'm afraid I don't really have the funds to have such a tome myself. But no, it's in half an hour north of New York City, on the Hudson River is where you can find the Carlyle estate, if ever you wish to go. Although I understand that they're not taking visitors at the moment.
Well, I personally think the Carlyles are something of hacks in the field. Not so much like Percy Fawcett, who's a real paragon of archaeology and exploration. The Carlyles, they're rich and they're curious, but I find some of what they say, some of what they write, to be a little odd. You said half an hour north along the Hudson River. Have you ever personally met any of them, talked to any of them?
I'm afraid I'm more of a backseat scholar and explorer myself. The Carlyles are much move in different circles than me. You have to have money if you're to go to their estate, and not exactly the kind of guest that they might have. So no, I haven't. But I would love to see their library.
Speaking of money, Mordechai, I believe that you and I had an arrangement, and I believe I have fulfilled my half of that arrangement, and you mentioned being able to procure some funding for my next expedition.
Quite, yes, of course. He stopped looking through the books. So tell me of this expedition of yours. To where are you headed?
Well, I don't know how well you know of Percy Fawcett and his son, but they've been in South America now for a couple of years, and they've gone missing. They've gone down into the Amazon many times, and they've found hints of ancient civilizations that were far more advanced than they should have been. Now, I believe that if we can find enough evidence to suggest that there were civilizations advanced like ours is now in the past, well, that would change the way that the rich view the poor, that Caucasians and Europeans view the Africans, perhaps, the South Americans. It would completely rewrite history in our minds. And so, in my mind, well, I'd like to go to South America, and I'd like to look for Percy Fawcett and find out where he is, if he's still alive, and what he might have found.
Absolutely. Well, I would only be happy to assist you on this expedition. Granted, of course, that we could see to some of the findings going to museums and the like, where they could be studied for archaeological value. But my friends at the Penhew Foundation often fund these things, and I will put in a good word for you immediately, later today, in fact, with the director there, Edward Gaffigan. I'm sure we could make something happen.
Penhew Foundation in London, is it?
Oh, that's right, yes. The headquarters is in London. That's where a lot of the funding for expeditions is these days, I'm afraid. Those in the Americas don't quite appreciate the artistry of ancient civilizations the same way as the English do.
Well, I know that to be the truth. Well, I appreciate your putting in a good word, Mordechai. I hope that we, while we're here, are able to satisfy some of your curiosities on the Peru expedition. Do you mind if I take a look around your library, see if I can find something maybe you missed before?
Feel free to help yourself, my friend. Yes, indeed. And you have free reign to look around his library.
Yeah, and I guess Tennessee's going to look for anything that might suggest a break-in or not that he expects to find anything after 2 months have gone by with his book missing, but anything that might seem out of place, and that might be other books that are similar in title to Africa's Dark Sects, anything like that.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. You can always spell hidden.
Okay.
Very nice. Okay, so here's what you find on a critical success. There is a window which looks to have its lock recently been broken. The glass hasn't been broken, so someone who is probably fairly well versed at unlocking windows and breaking into houses most likely did this. The lock is new enough that it wouldn't have just broken on its own as far as you're concerned. So someone probably did break in here.
And is this on like a second story? Would they have had to have climbed upward as well?
Yeah, the library is on a second story, so someone would have had to have climbed up and gotten into such a position where they could do it. So it's the artistry of someone who's very well versed in their craft.
And as he's searching, does he find, I don't know, I guess he would look around the window first and see if maybe like part of their clothes got caught on the corner when they were climbing back down, like maybe there's a shred of material.
On the critical success, I'll give you this. There's no material left behind, but there is what looks to be some smudging just around the sort of white lacquer paintwork of the window sill on the outside, and there is a smudge of something black, which was sort of like almost rubbed into it, which you would suggest is some kind of paint, perhaps, or some kind of like polish. It definitely has that kind of smell to it.
Okay. Yeah, he'll lean out the window, look down, kind of notice that, and scrape a little off and smell it. Does he see written on the window or on the outside of the walls anything written? Maybe like
doesn't appear to be
I don't know.
anything written. No.
All right. So he'll file away that information. If there's any books that look particularly similar to the one that's missing, he'll grab that and take it back to the group. But otherwise, he'll head on back for coffee, breakfast, whatever everyone else is doing.
Yeah. There are plenty of books around. You could probably just grab a book on something slightly esoteric and bring it back for breakfast. Who's up next? Jordan's or Lucian?
Lucian, I suppose Lucian. He he didn't rush to get up because he's still recovering. And how many do I recover through the night, Will? Just one?
Yeah, you recover 1 wound every night.
Great. Actually, you know what? Before I get up, as I wake up, Lucian is going to do a medicine on himself to see if he can help himself. Increase the healing process.
Okay.
As he is a doctor, so I figured I may as well use it. Okay, so medicine. That is that's a hard success.
Nice.
16 out of 17.
Cool. So, we'll say that stacks because it's boring for you to be dead the whole time. So you'll recover a second wound, and so each day you can recover 2 wounds.
Oh, yay! I'm on 4 hit points. Huzzah!
Yeah, it's painful waking up, I bet, for Lucian right now.
Yeah, now it has to be a strong gust of wind instead of a breeze that will kill me. Apart from that, he will just get changed, as he does, as his entire life he's always dressed for breakfast, and head downstairs and just get some tea or coffee. And, I don't think there's anyone in the kitchen where everything is, so he's look around and just pour himself get some toast. And
sure. So everyone's sort of having breakfast and the like, and then the Jordans come down, presumably.
Yeah, I unbooby trap the room so we can get out. That's why we're the last out, is because we wake up, but then I have to disarm everything.
Right.
Marcus has to stay in bed and wait.
Right, dear.
Is it good?
Above me, I'll take it up. Yep, you're good.
And then we'll head down. Keeping an eye out for any, I don't know, like cryptic nursery rhymes written in blood or paint.
Sure.
The Jordans have a good right to be a little paranoid considering their line of work. Just in general.
So you guys sit down for breakfast. That is pleasant enough. Dr. Mordechai Lemming has, made food for everyone and coffee and drinks and whatever it is you need. He has a well-stocked parlor, it would seem. He sort of sits down with everyone for breakfast as he reads the newspaper over his thick-lensed glasses and sort of looks up. So, Tennessee Gray, I see you've found yourself a novel there, my friend. Choice, and am I to believe that you're all headed down to the House of Juju today?
Well, that was the plan.
Well, best of luck if you do. The Silas Nkwabe down there, he's a good gentleman, but it's a little bit spooky when you go inside, I never really like going after dark.
Silas Nkwabe, his name came up. Someone mentioned him recently to us, but maybe it was you, Mordecai. You said he's involved somehow with Emerson Imports?
Yes, I believe that Emerson Imports is the, shall we say, front for some of the somewhat more illicit goods which come through. As, for instance, Africa's dark sex would have been picked up at customs and burned and destroyed, so smugglers, yes.
Interesting. And what will you do with your day, Mordecai?
Well, I figured I'll take another look around the library, see if I can't find Africa's dark sects, and then, I'll research anything that you are all interested in me looking at, I suppose. There's a particular topic you'd like me to read more into, I'll do my best to find out some information for you.
In regards to the book, did you have any colleagues, friends that were interested in such a that springs to mind?
I am afraid I am somewhat lonely here, Dr. Ernest. I didn't confide in anyone that I had the book.
So the only people that knew you had the book was yourself and the person who got you the book, yes?
Presumably, yes. I do sometimes entertain guests of a scholarly nature, but it'd be a bit like finding a needle in a haystack in that library.
Oh, of course. And so who was the person who got you the book?
That
Just-
would
just-
be Silas and Quave. Yeah,
I
the,
thought so. I thought
House
so.
of
Ah,
Fusion,
brilliant,
yes.
brilliant. Thank you very much. Thank you. And he takes another sip of his tea. Puts it down.
Most welcome, most welcome. Miss Jordan, you look dazzling today. I did have a question for you, if you wouldn't mind answering. Another question on Peru. You see, I'm very interested, and I keep putting together little pieces of the puzzle that I weren't gifted unto me by our poor departed friend Jackson Elias. But there was a report about a dress. Sighting of a strange dress while in Peru. The explorers who came through afterwards and locals said that they were the wedding dress. I thought such a thing might have caught your eye.
Oh, how curious. I mean, I didn't see any weddings taking place down there. But, I believe we did see someone maybe wearing a dress while we were down
Really?
there.
Some local woman, perhaps?
I think so. It's been a while.
Interesting. Strange that she would be so far out into the Peruvian jungles in a wedding dress, especially seeing as those things are not custom of the Peruvians themselves to wear such a dress, a different garb entirely. But,
Catherine,
curious
don't you
indeed.
remember? It was, it was nailed to that tree.
a tree! Oh, goodness. And he gets out his little notepad and he's, yes, nailed to the tree, you say?
When he's looking at Tennessee, Catherine gives him a look. Like, yeah, I remember. She was,
Oh, I mean,
well, you see,
you know, it's just a weird
sight of-
custom thing.
yeah, the sight of, blood makes me a bit nervous. I don't typically try to remember
Blood?
such things. Oh, I think there was a bit of blood there on the tree.
A bloody dress nailed to the tree. Goodness gracious.
Oh.
Do you think that was involved in whatever cult activity was happening there?
I don't know
believe
anything
this
about the
was
occult.
Most probably some locals trying to scare us away. They're not particularly fond of us down there. are they?
Really? And did it? Scare you,
well.
that is.
Well, when you see a bloody dress nailed to a tree, it does let the imagination run somewhat wild. I
the
am.
entire
I am.
thing.
Yeah, I am. I will say that it did shake me. Yes, absolutely did.
Really? I can only imagine how terrifying such a thing would be. Goodness, isn't that exciting, though? That's never before seen a sighting of locals trying to off-put explorers. Now, that's something for us to be aware of for future expeditions and to look out for. Very useful, Miss Jordan. I hope it didn't scare you too much.
Oh, it was, a bit frightening at the time, but I believe I've recovered. She just...
With the help of your husband, he was there for support.
Oh, yes, Marcus was very, very consoling. Puts her hand
Miss
on.
Jordan, you saw the dress as well.
Oh, I don't remember. It was all so scary and in the middle of the jungle like that, and it was just, there's a lot of things that happened that, I don't know, I would have to sit down probably over a drink or something. It would help to... I've never wanted to go back there, not in my mind. Oh well.
Fascinating what the mind does. Well, this has been very useful information that I shall report back and perhaps put it into my latest book. I'm writing a book. By the way, I should let you know that on esoteric findings in Peru and the like. So literally, this is all going into the novel, and well, some of it is fictionalized, I'm sure, as you can account for the somewhat interesting nature of the events which happened there. But yes, well, if there's anything else that pops into your mind as strange,
Limmy. This Kosov
Yes.
kind of like is in the doorway of the kitchen. When he got there, you're not really sure. Who do you report to?
well, my publishers. I suppose. I send in drafts, and they tell me what's good and what needs to be cut and the like. And I've written a couple of books before, if you'd like to read them. They're not very exciting, I have to say, but they are important pieces of work.
I am sure.
Well, if anything else pops into your mind as strange, which happened in Peru, then please do let me know, because it's all very interesting. And I understand, Dr. Ernest, that part of your continued work after the exploration was into the creatures which you found there in jungles.
Yes, it was, yes. I was due to do a lecture. However, that has been delayed due to recent events, so...
Well, we must see to this lecture being placed back on. Now, I know several lecture halls who would love to hear you speak.
Yes, but perhaps a few months down the line when I have recovered, I believe would be the best.
Yes, your injuries seem extensive. Well, thank you all. This has been very, very interesting indeed. I cannot thank you enough for your insights into the events in the jungle there. As mentioned, Mr. Gray, I will be seeking funding for his latest expedition. Are you all going on this expedition?
Oh,
Well, I hadn't invited them yet, but of course, if any of you are interested in returning to South America once we've got this New York business finished up.
Tennessee, I am hurt. I found out about the expedition from this man, not from you.
Well, I was going to tell you, Koskov. Yesterday, we were just a little taken up with, the plan.
Yes, we must revisit plan one day. It will be glorious.
Well, I must say, if you are all going on this expedition, this will change things greatly at the Penhue Foundation in terms of me being able to seek funding there. You are, as I mentioned, somewhat famous in certain circles after this expedition in Peru, so to know that the famed explorers would be returning to seek treasures unknown, unheard of before, why, that would be... The possibilities of this are just endless.
Mordechai, what's the name of your book that you're writing? Just out of curiosity.
No, it doesn't have a title yet. That's the one thing that I can't figure out.
You have to have a good title, Mordechai.
Well, I know.
I'll let you-
That's what the publishers keep telling me as well, is you'll never get anywhere unless you can have a sexy title, but I'm afraid all the titles I come up with run on for about 3 lines, so...
what's your
Sexy
publisher?
like the African dark sex, yes.
Sects. They're Peregrine publishers. Very good. Honestly, if you are into any kind of writing, then I must forward you their details. It's very good.
Thank you very much.
No, wait. He said Peregrine is his publisher? Is that who? I cut for a second.
Peregrine
Okay.
Publishers.
Does Marcus know that name?
You can run me like a knowledge, I guess. What's a knowledge check in this game? History, something like that?
Let's see, just like a straight history or something. Do.
Yeah.
Oh, that's 68. Doesn't look like it's going to be good. Oh, yeah. Education. Success.
Sure, you've heard of them. They're like a minor sort of educational publisher, largely for like academia, I guess. Nothing very sexy.
So they don't really have a lot of like mainstream publications. They're
Right,
more scientific and educational.
It would be like, profs would write in their monthly, journal or something like that, various different topics.
So it's something that if Marcus decided or said that he would write a bit of a compilation piece about various expeditions and scientific research for whatever country he's been to, that they might trade that for not publishing the novel of Mordechai.
You might very well think that. I couldn't possibly comment.
Okay. It's just I'm just, spitballing.
Just spitball.
Mr. Lemming pushes his glasses up his nose. Well, I suppose we should get on with our day now that coffee has been drank and food has been had. What? So, well, best of luck to you today with your expeditions, and if you find anything interesting, let me know. Oh, was there anything you wanted me to look into today?
Maybe the cult of the bloody tongue. I'd like to know more about them.
Very good. Cult of the Bloody Tongue. I shall see to it. If there's anything else I can dig up on the matter, I'll help. Oh, don't worry. I'm sure none of us are in any kind of real danger. Who would care about an off professor like me getting into trouble? No, I'll have a look around, and if I find anything, well, I'll see you tonight, I suppose.
Spasibo.
Thank you very much for your hospitality.
Thank you. And he sort of scurries off back to his study.
So, where are we going first?
You seemed intent on us going to House of Juju.
Well, we have an appointment. Marcus at least has an appointment at 3 with Mr. Nigel Blackwell. And I think you had another appointment, dear, to visit with someone else.
It's not Nigel Blackwell. We have Professor Anthony Cowles.
That's what it is.
Oh, yes.
I read
And
the wrong
I'm-
line of my notes.
Taking a shower with my good friend Hilton Addams. The schedule it is.
Well,
It's a busy
The
man.
gentleman in prison, yes.
Well, I'm happy to drive us over. I would like to go to the House of Juju after that still, if there's time.
No.
But, I mean, my car is right out there, Marcus.
We wouldn't want to inconvenience you. We might be going in separate directions, so best to keep you in the pattern, so to speak, so you can get to wherever needs gotten in sonic speed inside that fine automobile.
I mean, it's a very good car, but that reminds me. I found upstairs, looking around the library, signs that is Mordechai gone now at this point?
He's out of sight, out of earshot. He's back upstairs in his study. You heard the sound of the door closing.
Leans in. The window was ajar on the second floor, leading into the library there, and I took a look around the window on the outside of the window, and he's still got a little bit of those flakes of paint on his fingertips. He kind of like lays it out. I found something that looks like black paint on the outside of the window. Whoever did this, it wasn't a simple lock. They are professionals. They know what they're doing. And
you didn't see any words, did you?
No words. I looked for,
thank God for
rhymes, poems, song lyrics, nothing like that. But there was paint on the outside, right where they would have had to come up through if they climbed the side of the house and then picked the lock on the window.
Well, it seems quite obvious where the person who stole the book came from. If the good Dr. Lemon here was him and the person he bought it from were the only two people who knew, it is most likely that that other person, the owner of the House of Juju, told someone else where to find it, and then they took matters into their own hands.
We know Miriam Atwright knew. She's the one who told Jackson Elias about the book. We know Jackson knew.
They did?
Here, let me check my memory. Yes.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, it could be any one of those then. I still think the House of Juju would probably be our best bet.
I think so too. But if someone from the House of Juju is involved here, and I know it's an off chance, but there's a lot of coincidence going on. Something about that black paint reminds me of, what we've seen before.
What would the
Yes. Someone getting in, no one knows, leaving messages.
Perhaps
Now,
the person
missing?
did leave a message, but Dr. Lemon cleaned it up and didn't tell us.
Did you ask?
Why would he do that?
I don't think we asked, no.
You seem to be asking an awful lot of questions. Very interesting questions. He seems to
He's
know
an
quite
academic.
a bit about the expedition.
Well, he is writing a book about it. It is his job.
Yes, but
Seems to know
very intimate details.
Exactly
Yes,
what I was
what
thinking.
happens with research.
Well, maybe he just struggles with boundaries, you know? He seems nice enough, and so far, everything he's said checks out with me, but maybe he just isn't used to talking to people.
It's very
Well,
possible.
Perhaps.
Anyway, so where are we going first? Which Marcus, Mr. Jordan? Which person would you like to go see first? We have the professor, I believe, in the afternoon, and that.
Hilton, I believe I could see this morning, and then
At
the
3.
professor is at 3. If we want to fit in the House of Juju before or after, it is
Perhaps
quite best interest.
you have morning meeting while we go to House of Juju, meet the professor later.
We can meet up at the professor all together.
Yes, splitting up sounds perfectly logical. This is a big city. We need to split up and cover some ground. So why wouldn't it be deadly? I'm all for it.
Yep.
Well, if you are, I mean, I was hesitant to even bring up, but since you're so gung-ho.
Oh, I am interested in checking out the House of Juju. Maybe we can come back later once the sun's down. He mentioned that Emerson Imports at night, that's when they bring the good stuff. I'm very interested to
perhaps-
see.
Perhaps we should wait until
Good stuff?
evening.
Well, you know, the
they-
illegal stuff.
Yes, they smuggle
Oh, you
mean like-
in
like
certain
drugs?
things.
Like the good drugs?
I don't. Wait. Before I do this, do we know
Drugs.
that they smuggle artifacts in and out yet?
It was just confirmed to you that
Okay,
yes.
okay.
they-
I just didn't want to. Okay. Yes, they smuggle artifacts in and out from different.
Perhaps I can talk business with this man.
Very interesting. Illegal, you say?
Yes, that might shock you, Mrs. Jordan, but don't worry, we won't be doing anything illegal.
Absolutely. Shocked, but
I think it was interesting. Mordechai mentioned that the book would have been burned at customs. That's strange. And so they had to bring in the book past customs. They had to smuggle it in. Why would customs have burned this book? Is it that offensive?
I have no idea. You'd have to ask the customs official of the United States of America.
I don't want to do that.
Yes.
Anyways,
I do. I go
so-
out of my way to avoid customs.
So Marcus is going to the prison, and we're meeting up at the professor's afterwards. Do we want to go to the House of Juju first, or do we want to wait until later?
I feel we should wait until later, where all the juicy things come. Later.
So we can say that your meeting with Professor Cowles can be at the same time that we do the scene with Marcus, just for the sake of.
I mean, who wanted to
worrying
talk
ab-
to the? Yeah, who wanted to
Yeah.
talk to the professor? Which one of us wanted to actually? Who made the meeting?
Catherine brought it up. maybe?
Catherine scheduled it, yeah.
Okay, so Catherine, you wish to talk to the professor, yes?
Yes, I can do some speaking with the professor.
Right, and okay, and obviously Marcus wishes to talk to his to the prisoner, or alleged man who committed the murders. So what? We're all going to the prison together, then we're all going to the professor together, then we're all going to the House of Juju together, or are we all splitting up, or...
So Marcus
what
is
are we
pretty sure that only one person is getting inside
He's
that
gonna be able to
prison,
get
which
into
is
the
to say
prison.
Marcus.
Okay,
so for the
so
sake of
if-
expediency, the rest of you can go to see the
Mhm.
professor while he sees.
Okay, so if Marcus goes to the prison, we will go see the professor,
with the
and then we
professor.
shall meet up to go to the House of Juju later tonight, yes?
Yes, indeed.
Excellent, excellent.
Sounds like a plan. I'll drive.
Okay. I mean, Marcus, you don't mind taking a taxi to the prison, do you?
No, perfectly fine. I prefer it. I will. Yes.
Very good, very good.
Marcus, my friend, I could drive you on my motorcycle. If you prefer taxi.
Whichever. Just not. I didn't want to take up any more of Tennessee's time. So. Sure.
Catherine just pats his arm.
This seems like thing you need to take on
actually.
alone.
I have a viewer decision for you guys, and the question is, what else is in the prison?
Oh no.
How? As Marcus sails away on his own
Yeah.
to the prison, the
Catherine
rest of
definitely
you...
gave him like the prison rundown, like just as an aside before they went. Don't pick up the soap. Don't look at anybody in the eye. Like just gave him like a list of like 16 like rules of like not to do in prison. Again, just a quick
16
breakdown.
rules of prison.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll start with the four of you guys headed to Professor Antony Cowell's place. He has a like a temporary workspace in a series of like apartments. His secretary has given you the address, so you guys can fairly easily drive there at breakneck speed and somehow survive the ride through New York. So you get there, and you'll find that there's a secretary at the desk just outside the sort of main office, which has Professor Antony Cowell's placard above it. She's expecting you because you did book a meeting, and so she sees you through into the room where you find Professor Antony Cowell, who is in his 40s or so. He's got a big beard and sort of curly hair. He's a slightly more rotund man, and his suit sort of just looks like it barely fits him anymore. In his room, he's smoking a big cigar, and there are sort of papers and looks like notes around. Come in, Mrs. Jordan, right?
Yes, it's a pleasure to meet you, Professor. It's we've heard good things about your work, my husband and I.
Pleasure to meet you too. And I wasn't expecting any other guests, but I'm always welcome to meet other friends of the Jordans. So who do we have here?
Oh, well, we've got Mr. Tennessee Gray. He is quite interested in artifacts and archaeology. We have Mr. Koskov Romanovich. He's a friend of ours, and then good Dr. Lucian Ernest.
Dr. Romanovich Gray. Well, it's nice to meet all of you. What can I do you for, Miss Jordan? I'm pretty busy here, but I've got some time, so
Well, you see, we were very interested in your the Cult of Darkness lecture you had on the other night, but fortunately we got tied up in some last-minute diplomatic relations. Could you?
Okay.
I was just wondering if you've ever heard anything about the Cult of the Bloody Tongue.
Oh, the Bloody Tongue, yeah. Sure thing. What do you need to know?
What can you tell us about him? We've been doing some research into a certain project, Marcus and I, before we go on another trip. But this cult has been mentioned a few times, and we've just been wondering what are they all about?
Well, I guess if you had to sum it up, they're about death and indeed bloody tongues. Without being too bloody and gory about it, they like sacrifices and they like cutting off people's tongues, I guess. From what I've read, of course I've never seen them in action myself, but from my readings, they are based in Africa over the past 200 years or so, but the cult has actually gained some popularity across Europe and America, as far as I can tell. A couple of cells have been known to crop up, and well, the murders are common, let's say, wherever they go. People go missing, bodies turn up. You could look into New York, for instance, and the Hilton Addams murders. Now, I don't know how much you've looked into those cases, but they were pretty bloody and violent. Now, if you ask me, having looked at some of the case files, it would have been impossible for one man to wreak the kind of devastation upon someone that Mr. Addams has claimed to have done.
Do you suspect that this cult's involved? Because we have been looking a bit into the Addams case a bit for the Times.
I do, Miss Jordan. I certainly do.
Interesting. You think there's a whole sect here in New York City?
It's entirely possible.
Oh, good heavens. Let's see. Do you know anything, any other cults that they may be related to? You said you've been reading about them. Would you mind recommending me some books with which we can do some research for some citations and such?
Yeah, you're gonna want to try and pick up a copy of Africa's Dark Sex if you get the chance. Got a copy
Alright.
myself.
Do you really?
I
Would you mind
certainly
if I
do.
just had a brief thumb through?
Sure, help yourself. And he goes into a desk drawer and places a large-looking old tome upon the desk.
When did you get hold of this, if you don't mind me asking?
Doc, this book here isn't exactly legal, so I'd rather not ask any questions about it if I didn't have to.
I understand. But it's a recent edition, yes? As in
I
to
don't know
your
exactly when
collection.
this... To my collection, let's say it's recent, yeah.
Ah, yes, very good, thank you.
Well, help
Right,
yourself.
so,
Is
yeah.
there anything else I can do?
Could you just, is there any other, any cults you covered specifically in your lecture, aside from the Bloody Tongue, because we're doing research on that? Any other cults of interest?
I tend not to focus on specific cults, Miss Jordan. I'm mostly
right.
interested in general cult activity, and I guess what you would call the esoteric, the eldritch, and the unknown.
Of course.
More interested in evidence that there is of supernatural behaviors. Cults themselves, I find to mostly be savages who are praying to old barbaric gods, not exactly real evidence of anything, I guess what you would call ghostly or strange.
Interested. Any specific points of interest for these supernatural activities? Like any central points, areas of interest?
Well, I guess if I had to sum it up, I'd tell you to read my book. But seeing as you probably don't have time for that, Miss Jordan, I'll try and give you what I couldn't in the lecture. Let's see. Well, let's just say that there's a fair amount of archaeological evidence which I feel has been overlooked by governments and the scholarly body at large, I guess, and that knowledge which has been overlooked or discarded as rumor or whatever else it is that they would say to snub it. I believe there is a fair amount of evidence to suggest that there was life on Earth before humans, but that was still intelligent life, let's say. I don't want to say the word aliens, but let's say something closer to humans that we wouldn't easily believe in, let's say.
That's a very interesting theory. I'll
It
really have
is
to
my
pick up your
belief
book.
that this group, or whatever creatures or beings they were, had abilities beyond our own, knowledge beyond our own, which these people, ancient groups, would have worshipped as gods.
You wouldn't happen to have a copy of your book for purchase on hand?
Sure thing. Sure I do. You know what?
How
This
much?
one's on me.
Oh, well, thank you very much. That's very generous of you. Thank you.
Yeah. He hands over a book, The Cult of Darkness in Polynesia and Southwest Pacific. First chapter's a bit more specific. The rest of the stuff is more like what I've been talking about.
Now, Professor, you're saying you present in your book evidence that suggests what you're claiming. Actual evidence.
I believe it to be evidence, yes, Mr. Gray.
And the location, Southwest Pacific, is that where the evidence was found? Not that I don't plan on reading your book in full. I'm
Certainly,
curious.
certainly there is. Let me tell you a quick tale, I guess, before my time, and he checks what my time here is done. There are a set of twin mirrors, which are talked about throughout history and by these ancient groups. across the Southwest and across some of Southern America. And well, these twin mirrors are said to be able to see the future and grant knowledge from beyond the likes of groups could have possibly had access to at the time. Now we're talking thousands of years before any kind of technology that we have today was ever invented, let alone conceived. And yet these two mirrors, when placed next to each other and looked through by the right prophet or seer, would allow the user to be granted this knowledge. It is my belief, at least, that these mirrors were active by various different groups throughout time, and that they used it for technological advances which otherwise could not be explained.
Interesting. And you found one of these mirrors?
I saw one of the mirrors. Yeah.
Tell me, where did you see it, Professor?
He gives you a long look, and he's like, I'm afraid the details of the mirror were confidential, let's say. I don't want to reveal my source.
I entirely understand. I don't want you to reveal your source either, but can you tell me a location? You know, was it here in America, or were you abroad? Where did you see it?
I was abroad. Not on this side of the world. Let's say I went east.
East to Asia, or Africa, Europe?
Asia, where I've done a lot of my travels.
Do I think he's telling the truth?
Yeah, you're almost like...
Oh, Jesus. I'll use a crit.
Yeah, you're pretty sure he is telling the truth, though.
Well, I think it's a fascinating story, and I can't wait to read your book.
By all means. Now, say you're getting up to some kind of expedition, Miss Jordan. Asking a lot of awful specific questions, I might say.
Oh, potentially. You see, Marcus is writing another paper for one for the Times, another one that we were trying to, push towards some more of the more esoteric types. Just there's been some people asking a lot about cults. They've been coming into popularity lately, and so we've just been trying to put out pieces, maybe warning against the more dangerous ones, etc. So on and so forth.
If there ever was any kind of evidence about cult activity, you can be sure that the papers and the governments aren't going to cover it. It's just sensational stuff that tends to get swept under the rug.
Exactly.
And blame it on someone else, like I suspect Mr. Addams in this case.
Typically, that's what we've discovered. Which is why this would be more of a privately circulated piece.
You could read into that one of two ways. The first, they're not interested in any kind of bad tourism rumors starting going around where people start getting murdered, easy to blame it on one guy, or secondly, that they're somehow involved.
Oh, let's definitely hope it's not the latter.
Yeah. You'd be surprised. All kinds of folks are higher up you go in these organizations. Trust me, I've been in the scholarly field for a while, and there are a whole lot of people that you think are quite normal at first and turn out to be nutheads.
Oh, can't imagine ever meeting any of them, but I'll take your word for it. I'll definitely be very careful.
I'd be surprised.
And I'm totally thumbing through this book while they've been talking. Do we learn anything from the Cult of the Bloody Tongue? She'd also want Tennessee to come over and kind of be looking at it with her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
she knows Tennessee's more better with this stuff than she is.
You could roll library use.
Okay. Let's see here.
Can I aid her?
Yeah, sure. Give you a plus 10%.
No, that's not a success.
Yeah, you go through it. A lot of it, unfortunately, is in various different languages. It doesn't look like it sticks to any one language, which is kind of strange.
Okay.
but it's really not the kind of book that you could just thumb through. It doesn't have like pictures or anything like that, really. That you
Okay.
could just-
Yeah, she'll just kind of thumb through, trying to look for anything about the bloody tongue, because that's what we're looking for. That's about it.
Yep. So Professor Antony Cal says, "So is there anything else? Because I really have to get to this next meeting, I'm afraid."
Oh, of course. I don't think I have any more questions. Any of you?
Niet.
No.
No,
Right,
but
well,
it's been a
been nice
pleasure.
meeting you. Yeah, if any of you ever make your way to England, I'm doing my next lecture tour around the UK, so you can see me there. If you
thank
ever
you
go
very
back
much.
to your homeland, Dr. Ernest.
It will be good to see old Blighty again, yes.
All right then. He packs the book into his Africa's Dark Sectors into his sort of like messenger bag, I guess, or suit or briefcase, more likely that he's carrying. Does up his suit and kind of shows you out. Locks his room behind him, his office behind him, and he probably heads out a different way from you guys. So it's
Well,
not
I
so
see.
awkward.
Well, I think we know where Dr. Lemon's book went.
No, wait.
Do-
Did he say he had multiple copies? Did I hear that right?
No, I don't. Did he?
Did he put the book away before we left?
He took it with him.
He'd back to with him.
Okay.
He didn't
That's
say
what
he
he-
had multiple copies. Just
Oh,
for,
okay.
yeah,
Misheard.
But it's safe to
What?
say that that's most probably Dr. Lemon's copy. I'm just
Oh, not necessarily.
only
He does a lot of
13.
traveling. He could have brought it in with him, smuggled it in.
True, but he did say it was a recent acquisition, and recently Dr. Lemons has lost his copy in the same city of such a rare book. I suppose you could put two and two together, and
Or he just
Well, he
recently
def-
acquired it from a fence. I don't think he's the
I don't believe he
The wall
I don't think it
climbing type?
applied.
Yeah, I don't believe
Oh.
he stole it. I believe he probably went to possibly even the House of Juju and said, "I need this book. Could you get me this book? Here's a lot of money." And he goes, "Don't worry, I know."
and they knew where
one
it
is."
was
And
because they've
yes,
just sold one. Yeah, it's possible.
Yes. That's
You all
Kind of
want to hear the
stuff.
damnedest thing.
go ahead.
That story, the story of the mirrors that he was telling us,
No?
I've seen one of those mirrors too, I think. Mordechai had a similar story he was talking to me about, and he asked me about the mirrors. He showed me. I mean, it could be two entirely different legends, but the book, the coincidences, the connections, if those mirrors are a real thing, or at least, not to say that I believe that you can look into the future, that seems silly to me, but an actual artifact, I think Professor Mordechai has one of those mirrors.
Well, perhaps later tonight, once we've finished the House of Juju, we can find out if he does. We could always ask and investigate.
I looked into the mirror, and I touched it. It was a strange experience. It was something that I hadn't felt since we were down in Peru. I can't explain it.
Oh, well, you won't be touching that mirror then.
Yes, I don't think I'll be touching that mirror either.
It is unsettling.
Yes.
I'm not fond of things that remind me of Peru.
Anyway, shall we get in the car and head and to meet up with Marcus? I'll have a browse
Oh,
through
yeah.
this gentleman's
Yes.
book to see if there's anything else that I can find in there, particularly about the bloody tongue, and perhaps even the father of maggots. That was what its creature's name was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we're probably running late too, so I'll really step on it this time.
So,
Sit in the middle
So-
and the back.
yeah. So back with Marcus, he's made a deal with one of these cops to meet him at a certain hour, this morning, and to be led him around the back gate, basically. So the police officer nervously, exchanges the money. And hurries you round to a place where you shouldn't be seen by anyone else while it's on his watch, Marcus. And he opens a door up to one of the, I guess, like shower rooms. And inside is just Hilton Addams. He is a very muscular-looking dude. He's like stripped down, but he's still like wearing his undergarments, I guess. He's completely shaved, like bald, and he doesn't look too pleased to see you. He has something of a suspicious look on his face. You can tell that he's most likely been in several fights recently, just due to the amount of like bruises and scars across his body, though you would suspect that he probably gave about as good as he got. And the police officer says, "All right, you got 10 minutes." And closes the door.
Mr. Addams?
Who are you?
I'm a friend of Jackson Elias. My name is Marcus Jordan.
Okay. What are you doing here?
I'm here to tell you a story, Hilton. I don't believe you're getting very fair representation here in the colonies.
Yeah, you fucking think so?
Oh, I fucking know so.
What are you, a reporter?
A little bit more than that. I'm not an American reporter, so I aim to tell the truth.
I spoke to that other one.
Rebecca.
Didn't fucking do anything, did she? Could be.
Short, dark hair. Fairly
Sounds like
attractive.
her, yeah.
I believe she has her own interests at heart, Hilton. I am a big fan of the truth.
Truth, huh? What is the truth?
Truth is, I believe you were framed by whoever is going around doing these cult murders. Perhaps the cult of the bloody tongue. We've had our own run-ins with these fellows. Were you friends with Jackson Elias?
Never heard of him.
Can I psychology him?
Yeah.
Hold on 1 second while I roll these dice. Yeah. Guess we'll never know that one. But you did meet this Rebecca. How did she get in here to see you? Did she speak with you during the court? During the
Cops just
hearing?
let her in, just like they did you.
Just let her in. What about this Captain or Chief Robson? He seems a kindly gentleman. He also seems fascinated with Rebecca.
Like, spits on the floor. Yeah, you let her in. Nothing goes by in here about him knowing.
Oh, I'm sure. Yet, she still has not written your story. She is sitting on it, perhaps, or she has been told to sit on it. Regardless, do you wish your story to be told, Mr. Addams?
Well, I don't know if it'll do me any good, but all reporters already came in here. I told them their story. Didn't fucking write it, so here I am for the rest of my days.
Let's look at it this way, mister. I say you are probably right that your days, if they are numbered, will either be very long or very short. In here, I'm afraid I can do nothing to get you out. But your words, even if it isn't the truth, Mr. Addams, is there someone you wish, someone you believe put you in here, someone whose name I could put in a paper? Maybe throw one more punch from behind these bars.
He looks you up and down. There's only one guy who I think it is. See, in the Great War, I was with the 369th Infantry, Harlem Hellfighters, and well, we saw some shit, and you get to know the kind of people who are gonna do bad things once the town's been taken or you captured people. And this guy, he was well, when I started poking around my nose in places where I shouldn't have done, I got one name back. It was Makunga Madari, the House of Juju. I don't know what the fuck it is they're getting up to down there. But as soon as I started asking questions, I found myself up here. Captain Robson comes to my house one day and arrests me. Doesn't present me any evidence, just fucking takes me. So here I fucking am. So if you ask me, who I think is behind some of this, first of all, that fucker Madari. Second of all, that fucker Robson. Listen, I don't care if you're gonna write this or not. It doesn't fucking matter to me anymore, because I don't think you're gonna be able to change anything. But Robson and his lot, they've got power, unlike you fucking want to believe. But my wife, Millie, she's still out there, and I'm worried about her. I think she could be in danger. I don't know what lengths they're gonna go to try and shut me up or try and shut her up, but if I know Millie, she's looking into this. And if she finds out what I found out, she could be in the same danger that I am. Or worse.
I am
Do you
married.
think you can-
I am married as well. I would be honored to do this. Where can I find Millie?
She's in my house back at Harlem.
I shall
Sure you can
check.
find. I'll give you the address. Just go check on her and tell her to just lay low and that everything will be okay.
You say you were looking into things and sticking your nose where it didn't belong, my friend. What were you looking into?
The deaths. I
Why?
organized members of the local community to try and protect against the attacks and bring whoever it was to justice. Kind of like a local militia, I guess you could say. Me and a couple of my contacts from the war helped me get hold of a couple of weapons so that people could arm themselves. As soon as I
Noble.
started taking my investigation myself, well, here I am.
Mr. Addams, we only have a few moments left. May I ask you just a few questions about specific individuals? You can, of course, ignore me, but I will see to your Millie regardless of your answers.
All right, ask.
Did you know Jackson Elias?
I've never fucking heard of him. I told you.
Mordechai Lemming?
Doesn't mean nothing to me.
Have you heard of anybody painting nursery rhymes on walls?
Nursery rhymes on walls.
It can't be the most
Like
fucked up
what?
thing you've heard. Like 1, 2, buckle my shoe.
Can't say I have.
Very well, Mr. Addams. The last thing I will ask you, does the name Dr. Lucian Ernest mean anything to you?
Ernest. Don't think so.
And I'm going to try one more psychology on that last one.
Okay.
Just to see if any of them pinged when he went through there. I'm going to crit.
Nice. Nice. Let's see. Yeah, he's not lying to you, but you see sort of like the ghost of a thought coming into his eyes for a second. No, I don't think so.
What were you thinking? We only have moments.
Even if it's
that
outrageous.
one, Lemming, struck out for some reason. I can't know why. I feel like I've heard it before.
Intellectual.
Maybe.
Or positions himself as one. Perhaps he is someone that might have either been intimate with the cult activity or someone that you may have gone to for answers. Perhaps the police went to him. He's involved in it somehow. He knows a little more than he's letting on.
Yeah. No, I think when that's it. I remember. I got my hands on the books that Emerson Imports. I knew they were up to some shady business, and I wanted to know what they were dealing with, what it was they're bringing in and out. Someone's paper was paying them a lot of money, for a bunch of shipments, bullshit names like shipment of goods, that kind of fucked up shit. I know what smuggling looks like. All the money was coming from a lemming. I thought it was a code name or something, like a fucking animal.
All of it.
A fucking lot. Yeah. Whoever this lemming is got a lot of money that he's pumping into these guys.
So financially, it appears that Mordechai Lemming has a vested interest in the deliveries of Emerson imports in the House of Juju, in your opinion.
I guess so, yeah. What is it that they're bringing in? Drugs?
I think they're bringing in things that interests this cult. Things of perceived black magic or power.
I don't know anything about that.
Is to be believed.
All right. And you hear like a rap on the door outside. Time's up!
Mr. Addams, I wish there was more I could do for you, but if it makes you feel any better, I will check on your Millie.
Appreciate that. Don't worry about me too much. There's a girl here. I think she's crazy, but she might be able to get me out. Worst comes to worst.
We always fall for the bad girls, don't we?
The door opens and the cops says again, "Time's up, let's go."
He extends his hand to shake Hilton Addams.
He returns the shake.
Good luck to you, my friend. Anyways.
You. Okay. So the group meets back up again. Where do you all meet?
Probably at maybe a cafe or something. Not too far from
mind.
the House of Juju.
There's always a cafe. Okay, yeah.
Always a cafe.
Nice cafe.
Coffee shop.
You enter into the coffee shop. There's a waitress there who seems very happy to bring you all of your food and drinks and the like. Okay, so you sit down, and as per usual, I'm sure there is a quiet booth which you guys can take.
Excellent. Marcus, did you have a good visit?
Oh yes, it was very fun. I believe if Mr. Addams is to be trusted, Mordechai is funding the House of Juju, or at least a very vested financial partner.
I mean, that makes sense, considering he is a researcher of such artifacts and books, and things are illegal. That's how he gets them in.
Apparently
He does
it goes
seem
beyond
very interested.
personal collection, though. It seems to be more of a business opportunity, and not an extension of his own hobby.
Interesting. Well, we found the book.
Oh, yes.
About the sex book.
Are you saying sex or sect?
Sects.
I'm interested in both.
In either, yes, But we found the Africa's Dark Sects book, and I'll give it a thumb through. I couldn't really pick anything out. It was in a lot of different languages, and that's not quite my specialty. But Professor Cowles was definitely fairly convinced that the government might be working with the cults to cover up the cult murders. He's pretty convinced the Bloody Tongue's behind what poor Hilton Addams got framed for.
Yes, Mr. Addams believed that our good friend Chief Robson was sent to stop him from sticking his nose into these murders.
Interesting.
He was most assuredly framed, if he is to be believed.
We should just steal the book. I wish I had thought of it before.
Well, I was going to say, but I don't know, last plan was shot down, so I just keep it to self.
Koskov, I think you have great plans, and I hope you'll always share them.
Oh,
So
well.
what with thieves now, are we?
Oh, well, I mean, that's
Ah,
what I
we're
was first sent to
explorers.
prison for, yes.
Well, yes. I thought you were a legitimate businessman, Koskov.
I am legitimate, and I have business. I am man. All
Oh,
three
I see.
are correct.
I see. I said it's like legitimate full stop business. Got it. Now I understand.
Well, we can't go to the police because we can't trust the police.
no.
These murderers are going to keep coming after us. They're going to go after other people. If they've already come after Elias and the others involved with Peru, it's just a matter of time before they find us. And if that book can save our lives or save other people's lives, we have to have it.
So, Marcus, you say he was sticking nose in places he should not be, then he get busted. Where was he sticking nose in?
He had he was part of the Harlem Hellfighters in the Great War, and he had promoted almost a civic duty group to help protect his neighborhood from these indiscriminate murders. So in doing this, he was looking into them to see perhaps if he could find something that the police couldn't. Unfortunately, the police found him.
I was going to say we should start where he was left off. Seems he obviously hit pressure point.
I did promise him that I would go see his wife, Millie, to make sure that she was okay. He gave me the address for his home in Harlem. I would like to do that before I do anything else.
Oh, absolutely. That to ensure that she is okay. Yes, it is the
The
least.
House
we
of
can-
Juju. That's in Harlem too, right? Wait, we in Harlem right now? I was getting confused.
Looks like
Well,
it.
Oh wow.
We are in the Harlem coffee shop. It's over
On the
there.
way.
Sign right there.
Well,
Well,
I was
how forth with
reading.
this?
I was reading Cowell's book. Did I get anything else from it? You know, like having a good read of it, primarily.
Yeah, you can roll me a
for,
library use.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. What's my library use? How am I? Oh, you know, it's not great, but it's all right.
Better than me, probably.
No.
Oh,
Wow.
Nope.
I can't even read it.
You were you tried to read what Tennessee was driving and you got car sick.
It's not written in Queen's English.
You realize after that blow to your head yesterday, you can't read at all. Like you
No,
can't
it's
read
all
anything
blur.
anymore, right?
Perhaps someone else should take a look at this when they've got time.
Right, well, let's finish this cup of coffee and then we can check on Millie, go to the House of Juju.
Yeah, sounds good. And
I can
think
flip
we
through
should.
it.
I think we should be very careful to see if anyone is following us. Noticeably,
Agreed.
police officers or something like that. If the gentleman.
Tell you what,
Go ahead.
I will leave first on motorcycle. You leave. I wait a bit, see if you're being followed, then I follow up.
Well, you would be the one to, I suppose, to know one way or another.
That-
Yeah,
good
and
idea
if
to
we
me.
are being followed, I can lose them. I can lose them real fast.
Oh, just like my
I
lunch.
bet you can.
Okay, so Koskov, you can roll me a spot hidden as you check for anyone that could be following in your tracks.
Catherine would also like to kind of keep an eye out as it is in her business interests.
I do
Instead
not
of
spot
spotting, instead of spotting the hidden, Marcus is going to be trying to read the book. I had a regular success on the.
Okay.
So.
Oh, nice.
I spot all of the hiddens.
Cool. So let's see. So you guys are heading off to Harlem, basically. Catherine will spot that there are two unmarked, well, you suspect to be unmarked and ununiformed police officers who are following the car.
Okay.
Pretty much all times down to Harlem. They may have followed you this far as well already.
I will relay that information, and then double check. Well, cars at this time didn't have seatbelts, so I'll just brace myself real good.
How do you want me to handle this, Catherine?
Well, we can either try to park somewhere nearby, lose him in the buildings on foot, since they're following in cars, or we could try to lose him in the car. I look over at Marcus. He's trying to read. I'll leave it up to you, dear.
We should definitely try to. I don't know if Koskov has seen him, but can we signal him somehow without tipping off those two cars?
I don't think so. Any kind of signal that we would do would, for him to see, would clearly be visible to them.
Well, he knows the address. I'm sure he'll catch up.
Parallel to these cars, completely unaware.
Oh, well, what if I just suddenly slam on my brakes real quick and then I start up again?
Would a car behind you not ram into you?
Well, I don't know. Slams on the brakes.
Tessie Gray, roll me a drive auto.
All this is Don's thinly veiled attempts to get to roll his drive auto, just so he can show everybody his drive auto.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, nice.
He is good.
Yeah, it stops all of a sudden and you bring it back into gear and start rolling ahead. Koskov, roll me, goodness knows what this is.
A drive auto.
Koskov, yeah, drive auto probably. Like, recognize this maneuver.
Wow, the dice hate me. Yeah.
Okay, so...
first time in New York, this is pretty...
Yeah, no, so the... this happens.
Koskov lands in the car and we drive.
Yeah, you're not paying attention. You swerve away, at the last moment before, something terrible could happen. But the group of you continue on in parallel. The two ununiformed police cars continue behind you.
Oh, please don't do that again.
Oh, I think they're pretty good at driving too. They're still on us.
Well, I strongly
Alright.
suggest we lose them before we go to, what was his wife's name? Millie?
Millie.
Is that? Millie's
Millie.
house. If they know that we've gone there, it will only end badly for her.
Well, I mean,
I agree.
we could pull into an alleyway, let some of y'all out, and I could keep driving, and hopefully they'll keep following me and not you. Meet up later at the House of Juju.
We could try.
If you think that's a good idea.
Doctor,
don't think
maybe
it's
you
a
should
good
stay
idea
with
for
me,
the-
though.
I don't think the doc should be rolling out of a moving car.
I don't think
Yes,
so
no.
either.
No, I'm not going to be rolling out of anything.
So I guess I will look for somewhere close to Millie's house, like an alleyway or somewhere we can pull out of where we can lose their line of sight for long enough that they can get out of the car.
Okay, so
That's the
you can
idea.
all roll me as a group stealth checks.
Okay.
What, even if I'm staying in the car?
Yeah, you're going to be like ducking down behind the car and whatnot. And Gray's going to be turning off the engine.
That is a nat 20 or a crit success that I'm using because I'm not leaving that to fate.
I'll use a crit here too.
Okay, I've got a hard success.
Nice.
Stealth success.
Success.
Yeah, the group of you dive into a back alley, turn off, cut the engines, cut the lights, and duck down as you watch the two ununiformed police cars drive past down the alley. You're probably now within walking distance to Millie's house.
All right, let's go.
Okay. So you head
is it just-
to... Go ahead.
Yeah,
Okay.
so...
Is it
so-
just us, the Jordans? Is that, or did,
Or did
we all
get
park?
out?
We
I think
did park.
everyone's... Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
well,
I'll go.
as
I mean,
long
if
as
we
we're
lose the
hidden,
police,
yeah,
then-
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, successful
And
stealth checks. You
Koskov's
managed
like, where'd they
jump
go?
Hey, did Koskov see us? Did he follow us in?
Yeah, I mean, he probably didn't get the memo, but I guess he succeeded on a stealth check, so he would just followed you. So yeah.
Costco's in Albany.
Delivery's quick.
Where did the others go? Yeah, so the group of you jump out the alley, have your cars and vehicles in the alley, and make your way to Millie Addams' house in Harlem. It's a distinctly slightly more dangerous area of town than you've been in before. It's a little bit more rough and tumble around here. Sort of looks like there are a couple of probably street gangs who aren't really out at this time of day, but you could only imagine that it would start to get rougher the later you are here, as it's now about mid-afternoon. You find the address of Hilton Addams. It's number 53, and it's a very simple-looking house.
This reminds me of my hometown of Tula.
I suggest that we not all approach this house. It might scare her or spook her. Perhaps Mr. and Mrs. Jordan would prefer to do this.
Wait in the car and make sure those police don't come back around.
Absolutely. I mean, a group of unknown people approaching her house might scare her, considering the circumstances.
All right.
So, Catherine and Marcus, do you knock on the door?
Yeah. Just give us a signal or something if police are coming.
Okay, so you guys are like 50 feet back by the cars in the alley. Yeah, you knock on the door opens, and Millie Addams opens it up. She is concerned. She's a concerned-looking woman in a long dress, but nonetheless very beautiful. And she opens it up, clearly surprised to see two people such as yourselves in this on her doorstep, perhaps in this neighborhood. And she says, "Yes, hello. How can I help?"
Your husband Hilton and I had a conversation. I said that I would come and make sure that you were getting along all right. Mrs. Addams, are you getting along all right?
You spoke with my husband? Are you a police officer?
Oh, no, ma'am. I tried to tell the truth. I am South African, and I'm a reporter.
How is he? Is he okay?
He seems well, but it is a tough environment, especially for a man that has not done the things of which he is accused.
Oh, so you believe him as well? Yeah.
Of course.
I'm okay. I'm looking into everything and trying to clear his name.
Mrs. Addams, I know this is a difficult proposition that I am to make you, but we need you to stop doing that.
What?
We are looking into it. Hilton is concerned for your safety. I believe it is his looking into it that ended him behind bars. He does not wish the same fate for you.
Yeah, the police said that they were gonna look into it, and this is exactly where you should see exactly where it got him. So I'm gonna keep looking into this. I think. I apologies if I can't just trust two random strangers who turn up on my door and say that they've met my husband. The police have been around here before, and they've told me to stop looking into things. How do I not know? How do I know you're not just not wearing your uniforms right now?
Well, we're very foreign, for one.
These are all excellent questions, Mrs. Addams. Is there something that perhaps your husband would have told us that he has not told the police or even the other reporter that went to see him? He seemed closed-lipped when I first spoke with him, but he became more agreeable when I agreed to come see you.
Well, if you've done your research on my husband, then you'll know the regiment that he was in during the Great War.
The Harlem Hellfighters. The 369th.
Okay.
I heard they were second only to the Fighting First.
And that never existed. Well, well, okay, let's say I believe you and that you did meet my husband. Why should I stop looking into this? I mean, I'm the only one who's going to be able to clear his name.
Everything that we find, we will send to you, Mrs. Addams, but if they believe that you are getting close, they will put you behind bars or worse. Hilton
Potentially
does not
worse,
wish
do
you
it.
to share his fate.
Oh,
Is there somewhere I could call you? Do you have a business card or something I could take?
He would have a service to get in touch with him, I would guess. It wouldn't be secure though at all. Yes, you may call this number. I will check in with it daily. But when leaving, please leave your name as Mrs. Schosenberg.
She looks confused, but
we
nods.
don't want it. In case we get in too deep, we don't want you implicated at all in any sort of fashion.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
very troubling stuff that's being investigated.
Well, who the hell are you guys then? Why are you looking into my husband's accusations?
Honestly, they are trying to do the same thing to us.
We're trying to stop before it happens to anyone else.
Trying to stitch you up as well. My God, okay. Well, I'll try and stay quiet here, and I'll call you every day on this number, Schosenberg. If you find anything, you need to let me know, okay? Because
We definitely will.
yeah,
And if the police ask if we were here, you should probably just say no. We made sure we weren't being followed.
Mrs. Addams, we don't want you to give up your husband's fight. Continue to see attorneys, continue to solicit your local officials. Continue the fight in a very public way. Continue to do everything that someone would believe to do for an innocent spouse. Just don't look into what he was looking into. Leave that to us.
okay, I will. I've got some press meetings and stuff. I guess I won't cancel them. Well, thank you. I don't even know your names.
Marcus would look over at Catherine.
It is perhaps best that you don't.
Okay. Doesn't make me feel any better, I have to say.
We just don't want you implicated.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, I guess. And she clutches that piece of paper with the number on. And thank you for believing in my husband. Not many people do. But ask anyone
believe
around here. They know that my husband, he's not guilty.
Mrs. Addams, your husband confided that he was also trying to do his civic duty and organize arming the neighborhood with ability to defend itself. If you have friends of his that are true and loyal friends who he so armed, perhaps going and staying with them for the next few days or weeks would be something that would make Hilton feel better and perhaps keep you a little bit, maybe keep you a little bit out of violence.
Yeah. Okay, I have some friends I can stay with. They were with him in the Great War, so they're the kind of folks you wouldn't want to get into a fight with in a dark night. So, yeah, I'll go stay with them. First thing tonight. Is there anything else?
Just take care of yourself. Stay safe, Mrs. Addams.
You stay safe.
Thank you. Well, good day then.
Marcus is down 3 steps, and he stops and doesn't look at Catherine, and he looks back over his shoulder and says,
It's Marcus. My name is Marcus.
Okay. Well, thank you, Marcus. And she
And he
closes
leaves.
the door. Now, meanwhile, Tennessee Gray, Koska Romanovich, and Lucy and Ernest, you are staying by the cars and the bike. down the alley as you watch Marcus and Catherine have a conversation on the doorstep. I need you all to roll me another stealth check.
Fuck. I fail.
Success.
Dale.
Okay. You spot and are spotted by the cars as they come back round for a sweep, having lost you. And you see 2 police cars coming down the alleyway. And there are 4 gentlemen that get out. They have guns on their hips, but they don't appear to be drawing them. And they also have batons as well, which Dr. Lucy and Ernest is only too familiar with. In fact, Ernest, you recognize 2 of these men as the same men who beat you within an inch of your life only the other night. They wear sort of long trench coats and are ununiformed officers. The 2 who seem to be in lead bullies, I guess, come round the cars to be about within 10 feet of the 3 of you guys. And one of them speaks up and says, well, what have we here? Funny seeing you gentlemen here tonight.
Oh, it's good to see you here. And Tennessee's taking just a couple of small steps towards him, limping with his cane, leaning into his cane. I'm not sure what we can do for you. Something wrong?
What are you doing around here?
Well, here, picking up a friend.
Friend, huh? Well, that's a strange part of town to go sticking your nose into, Mr. Gray.
Oh, no,
Hey,
I'm not sticking my nose in anywhere. I'm just driving.
Hey, Doc, how's that leg?
Healing.
Looks like you took a little tumble down the stairs, huh?
Oh, that's what happens when you get involved with the police around here, isn't it?
I wouldn't know anything about that, Doc.
Of course not.
But let's just say there are plenty of stairs around here I can see. Terrible if something happened.
Yes, I'm sure.
It would be terrible. It would be terrible indeed. For what would we do without New York's finest to protect and serve?
That's right. So, let's just say you guys stay out of Harlem, huh? Before something bad happens.
I'm happy to oblige. As soon as our friends, the Jordans, are back, and we can drive off together.
He looks over to where Catherine and Marcus are, talking in the doorway. Miss Addams, huh? Interesting. Well, you all have a little chat, catch up. You guys can move on. We'll just stick around for a little bit.
Oh, sure then. We can all wait right here. Hey, have you heard any good stories recently?
The 4 of them sort of hands on hips in the most sassy way possible as Marcus and Catherine return. And they sort of hail 2 of you. Jordans. Hope you had a good catch up with Miss Addams there.
Are you here to protect her?
Sure. Yeah. So why don't you all just run along now out of Harlem, and we'll have a little catch up with Miss Addams as well.
Just I believe it's time to head back down. Oops. He pats around his belt. I seem to have left my... Yes, I'll be right back. He begins to head back across the street.
You're always misplacing your wallet, Marcus. I keep
Yeah,
telling
we'll
you to
come
put
with
it
you,
in your
Mr.
pocket.
Jordan. And the 4 of them start to bully their way through the group.
Tennessee steps aside and gives a look to Koskov as they pass.
And as they pass and walk away, Koskov just like pops his knife out. And first he's just gonna walk over to their car as soon as they're not looking and just slip into each the back tires. 2.
Oh yeah, I can help. And he'll actually go in and like cut their brake line.
Roll me, both of you can roll me stealth checks while you do this.
On that 20.
Oh. All right. Let's see how this goes. Nope.
So as Koskov, very quietly slips away, it's something more of a complicated procedure, I guess, to cut the brakes. So as you start going to do that, you are sort of caught mid act by one of the officers who taps the other one, and 2 of them turn and start making their way back towards you, Tennessee. They look to be moving towards their guns.
Can he cut their brake lines though? Is he able to do it?
I will tell you this: if you want to do it, then you can do, but you will definitely be spotted doing this.
And now you're
Do
just
I not have
suspicious.
spotted?
Do
No,
I
just
see
look
them
suspicious.
coming back?
Yeah.
Does Koskov see them coming back?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So Koskov is going to like duck back down under the car, and he's going to take one of his pinky rings and just kind of roll it and be like, "No, Tennessee, it's by the tire. No, up there."
Yeah, there it is. Oh, I got it. He grabs the ring and stands up, leans, kind of limps over on his cane and offers the ring back to Koskov.
Koskov, you can roll me a fast talk.
I swear, you boys and losing
Nat
your
20 back.
Yeah.
misplacing your things.
It's this American food. I'm losing weight. Just fell right off.
So the 2 of them stand and suspiciously sort of watch you while
Must be
the 2 sort of main bullies follow Marcus back to the house.
As soon as Marcus would get basically within shouting distance of the front door, he's going to turn around to the 2 police. There's no need to follow me, boys. You'll have your turn with Mrs. Addams. What I'm going to get, I'm not sure you would approve of.
The 2 of them don't seem to be much swayed by this. How about we follow you in just to see?
Okay. Yeah, when he turned around to talk to him, he is making sure that the gun that's in the small of his back and the gun that's in his pocket are both where they need to be, as he looks over the shoulder of one of the police officers and makes eye contact with Catherine, as he just shakes his head to the right and begins to walk up the steps. But as soon as he hits the first step, he screams, "Run, Millie!"
Catherine would, when getting that eye from Marcus, would like to see who else is on the street at this moment in time.
Alrighty, figured Damoose for subbing as well. Right, well, first things first, it's time for us to roll some initiative here, so we'll roll some decks.
Yikes. Okay. I can't write my journal. Journal you.
Really? God damn it! Alright.
How do we all roll 68? 68, 68, 68.
Oh shit, yeah, 368s in a row, that's brilliant. Alright, I can't roll a 0.5, which is crazy good. The, really rolled a 98, that's not great.
I rolled a 70,
sure?
but it's still a pass for me.
Yeah, mine's a success.
I rolled a
Uh,
52. Jesus,
Yeah, at
success.
least you rolled a 52. Let's see who next. Gray rolled a 55. And Catherine 54. Okay, yeah. Alright. And then I think Marcus on 68. There we go. Okay, so looks something like this. Cops are acting first on 05. Then Lucian acts, and Catherine does, then Hennessy does, then Marcus does, and then Millie does last. Unfortunately, I'm horrible rolling. So, as soon as you shout, "Run, Millie!" The two cops, one of them curses to the other. They both draw their guns, and they move to shoulder barge the door down. The door has a size, I think, of like 100. So the two of them together very easily bust down the front door with their first sort of shoulder check into it. The door isn't made of much anyway. And it just shatters off its hinges, and the two of them run inside and disappear down the hallway, clearly aiming to grab Millie. You hear a shout from inside, which definitely sounds feminine. Meanwhile, the other two cops in front of Catherine, Lucian, Koskov, and Tennessee Gray draw their guns and very clearly aim them at the group of the two of you. They're not shooting, but the threat is clear that if you were to move or act in such a way which was fast or, let's say, clearly reaching for a weapon, then you are very likely to get shot by the police, as is their MO. So, Lucian, you get to act next. You have a gun sort of pointed in your direction.
Oh, they're actually pointing towards me, are they?
The group of the four of you who are together, yes.
I take cover. I'm going to duck behind cover, the car, some bins, anything.
Okay,
I'm just going to jump into cover.
So I pointed a gun, and I probably should say they would say, "Don't move!" Hands up, hands where I can see them.
I'm jumping into cover. I know what these cops are like. Fuck this. I'm out.
All right, so Lucian, you jump into cover. Anything else you'd like to do on your turn?
Pull out my revolver, but keep it somewhat hidden.
All right, so as soon as you dive into cover, reaching for a gun, the police officer shoots at you.
No. I jump into cover so I'm out of eye shot. Then I put my hand to reach out again. That's what's happened.
The cops are so easily fooled by this, Tom.
It's jumping into cover.
So as soon as you run, I think it's safe to say that one of them is going to try and shoot at you because you are running from the police and you are clearly armed. So, yes, one of them is going to attempt to fire at you. It's not to kill; it is to wound and disable.
Well, unfortunately, this may kill me.
All right then. So that is quite likely
Can
to
I
have
dodge.
Oh,
You
Can I use my
you can try.
dex to dodge? Or no, it's the skill, isn't it? I nat 20 the dodge.
Well, how about this, Tom? Let's play the old game of is it a nat 20 or is it a nat 1? Seeing as you have a very equal amount of both, and I would definitely call into question the nat 1 here.
Okay.
So I give you this. We could, you could spend a nat 20 and I'd let you just roll it, or we could flip a coin and it's either a nat 20 or it's a nat 1.
Is your dodge better or worse than 50-50?
It's worse. It's 40.
yeah. Well, 40's
I
pretty
mean, I
good
may
for
as well
dodge because
flip
it's
a
half
coin
dex.
then. I may as well have a flip a coin then. Yeah.
Okay, so
True.
a 1 on a d2 is a.
Oh, but then again, if it's a 1, it's a complete fuck, isn't it? It's like
You just get
quadruple
shot.
damage.
Either way, you get
No.
shot. To be honest.
You just get
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah.
just
Come
trying
on,
not-
flip a coin. Flip a coin. Why
Okay,
not?
so D1, 1 on a D2 is a nat 1, and a 2 is a nat 20. It is a 2, so you get the nat 20, and you dodge out of the way as a bullet fires out into the
Because
night.
that would have killed me. That would have 100% killed me.
Absolutely would have killed you, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just roll a damage just to see what it would have done.
Oh.
Yep, that would have
fucking
killed
hell.
you.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah.
The bullet fires out into the Harlem sky, and into the, just kind of pings off the side of the car that you duck into cover behind. They have, for reference, they basically have taken the ready action so that when you act, they are going to fire. So that is Dr. Lucian Ernest's turn. You dodge out the way of death behind a car, draw your revolver in panic as you realize that these guys really aren't fucking around. Catherine.
Did I see anybody else on the street when I was looking before everyone was drawing guns?
Sure, yeah, you have noticed several people who are, I guess, just in the street. They look to be largely groups of 2 or 3 men.
She's gonna just, she's gonna put her hands like just like aghast. The police are attacking us! And just, she's gonna put on her American accent, hold on. The police are attacking us! Oh, good lord,
Right.
it's really loud.
Okay, you definitely
Police
spot some
brutality!
movement from the groups. It's safe to say that these cops are all white, and everyone in this area is largely black population. And from the context of what the police violence and injustice in this area looks like, this is the kind of thing which would really piss these people off. So you definitely see.
They look like
They definitely see them sort of looking to each other and nodding over what's happening as their police are clearly.
And she's just gonna kind of like back up against the wall, like just hands like a gasp, but really her hands just kind of on the back of the knife tucked into her the back of her belt.
Okay.
But she's backed up against the wall. She's ready to spring into action should one approach her. Or shoot at her.
Okay, Tennessee Gray.
So my understanding is you got 2 cops in the middle of the street on the sidewalk. We're on one side of them. The Jordan, us, Koskov, Lucian, and Tennessee.
Right.
On the other side of them are the Jordans at the house. The one facing us just shot at Lucian, and there's one facing the Jordans.
There is one. So there are 2 facing you in total. One is shot at Lucian. There's another who's pointing his gun at Tennessee Gray, Koskov, and then 2 of them have just gone in the house to take Millie Addams.
So Tennessee Gray will lean onto his staff and hold up his hands and gives a side eye past the cops to where the Jordans are, and then to Koskov, and he says, "Now, officers, please, nobody needs to get hurt here. We're not doing anything wrong. My friend is just scared. He was beaten recently. Look at him. He's just a doctor. Please, just put your guns down, sirs."
Hands where we can see him.
He
That
has
means
his
you
hands
too,
up,
Doc. Okay.
and he's loosening the head on the top of his cane just a little bit, but he's trying to keep their attention on him.
Okay. He seems to be paying attention to you. At least for now. There's that. Marcus Jordan, you can see inside the house where Millie Addams is being stolen away by looks of things by these 2 bully boys in blue.
As they run past me, can I see them disappearing into the house? Like you said, they were going deeper into the house and there was a scream.
Yeah,
When the door got
probably
broken.
somewhere in the kitchen. She's being assaulted right now.
Okay, he is going to yell out, "They've come for Millie!" Just in general, and then he's going to yell out, "Harlem Hellfighters!" And as he runs into the house, the very first cop he sees, he's going to nat 20 headshot.
Okay,
Fuck these guys.
let's do that. So yeah, you see her coming into sight as they're like dragging her back out through the front door, and you draw your pistol and shoot all the cops in the head.
Absolutely, yes.
All right,
Fast and loose, man.
then let's roll our damage.
Okay. So that'd be 16.
Yeah,
Actually, be 20.
The pop, as soon as he comes around a corner, you have the pistol ready, and goes through the back of his skull. He falls down dead. Millie screams again, most likely from the shock of it all, as blood sprays out through her apartment, and the other cop reaches for his gun to, return fire, but he's got Millie, on his hands right now.
I'm going to shoot him. And I don't have a nat
Right.
20, so I'm going to regular roll this. And that's still a hard success. And that's for a 12.
Nice. I have to check how much health they start with. I think it is the beat cop profile that they have, which is amazing. They have... Okay, yeah, 15 health. So, yeah, you shoot him, and he is close. It's a close to death, shot, probably center of mass. As he stumbles back as he's also blown away by the force of the bullet striking him.
I'm going to fan it then. I'm going to go for the third shot.
So you're not within, 10 feet that you need to be to fan the hammer? He's further down in the hallway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But you do get 2 shots off on him. He's very close to death. Let's see. It is Millie's turn. Let's see what Millie can do. She, in her panic, is not to be fucked with, and she punches him. But unfortunately misses. She's mostly just sort of flailing at him. If anything, it's making it a little bit difficult for you, because the two of them are now sort of fighting, and there isn't a very clean shot on either of them. Now it is the top of round 2, and it goes, yes, Koskov. No, we didn't have Koskov. Where did Koskov go? He rolled a
70.
70, that's right. Yeah, so you're actually before Millie. My mistake. But back on the other side of the fight. So yes, Koskov, what would you like to do?
So a couple shots ring out from inside the house. What does this do to the attention of our 2 men in blue outside?
Yeah, they're definitely looking over their shoulders. You can actually see Marcus is firing into the house. There's no shots from within.
Yeah, the split second that they look away, Koskov goes for his backup piece that he knows he can get rid of. And how far away are they from us? Pretty close?
Yeah, pretty close. Let's call it 15 feet.
Okay. Yeah, he's going to fuck it. I'm just gonna pop my backup piece out and just 2 nat 20s, 2 headshots.
Let's give it.
This might be the most awful sequence we've ever had.
Honestly, you just murder 4 cops.
Oh, you! Anyway,
we're not good people.
So I didn't roll great damage, but
okay, so that's a total of 5 and 4.
Yeah,
1 to each. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 1 to each.
Yeah, it would double though because of the nat 20. So
yeah,
you're
right.
10 plus 2, right? So it'd be 7 and 6, 14 and 12.
Okay.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, I didn't add the. Yeah.
It's okay. Both of them are still alive, but severely wounded. As you shoot the 2 of them, it doesn't quite headshot them center of face, but sort of one of them cuts off his ear basically with the force of the bullet, as it shatters off with a mess of blood. So Millie then acts. Then it's the top of round 2, and the cops get to return fire. So there are 2 of them still alive who are in front of Koskov and Tennessee.
They've just been shot from behind.
Well, they didn't turn their whole bodies to go and look. They looked over their shoulder to see what the shot was, while their guns were still pointed in this direction. So then Koskov shoots them, and they turn back to to Koskov. So let's roll these bones, and let's see as they're basically just shooting Koskov, who is clearly one with a gun, who has just shot both of them. So they're going to try and do that. Let's see if these dice in our favor today. It's a mess. Sorry, what was that? Koskov?
Oh no, I was just gonna say. I mean, Koskov's obviously dodging as soon as they return fire.
Yeah.
But
yeah, you're gonna need to roll a dodge down.
Okay. Dodge. I'll go ahead and roll it. That's a success.
Nice. The bullets. I'm going to have to look up the rules for how many actions you can take, and if taking a dodge action means that you can't act the next turn, I think. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
I thought that's what it was. If I dodge,
it's like a reaction sort of maneuver.
You can't. He just can't fire in this round. So
I can't fire. I can still move, though, right?
Yeah.
Just lose your action.
You can still move, you just can't act. So it's sort of like using your reaction as your action next turn. That makes sense. So two
Yeah.
of them fire. One of them looks like he's about to get you, and you dive into cover next to Ernest behind the car. The other cop who is with Millie, and she is fighting him. He shoots her on a 41. In his frustration, he basically just like backhands her and fires into her point blank rage. And let's see what the damage is on a Colts D10. Let's look up what her stat block is. Whether or not she has 9 HP. I feel like she might. Millie, not Murray.
Not Murray, Millie.
Bill fucking Murray, son.
It's Bill Murray. Apologies while I search through this extensive book to find Millie Addams. She has 12 HP, luckily for her.
Ooh.
So she is shot by this police officer, and she is blown backwards by the force of the shot, which is into her stomach, basically, where he shoots her. And he just like pummels into her. Shut up! And fires point blank range into her. As far as you can tell, Marcus, she like stumbles back against the wall, and she may be alive. It is now turn for Lucy and Ernest to act. Dr. Ernest, how much do you cower?
Quite a lot,
Or do you
actually,
shoot?
to be honest. No, I think Lucian's just going to stay hidden. He's just going to
Okay.
stay hidden, avoid any shots, just basically just hide, and stay in full cover.
Okay, I should also say at this point that there are a group of 5 men who are carrying what look to be rifles, and they ran into a house, came out with rifles, and these were men that were on the streets, and they begin to move towards the cops, and they begin to fire. So you begin to hear this like hail of bullets coming in from across the street.
I duck
As
even.
they are. Yeah. These are clearly like wartime rifles that they're using right now. So most likely you'd guess that they're 369th Infantry. So they're going to fire off the cops, and they are looking for 51, I think. So 1 hit, 2 hits.
Decent
Just a
odds.
miss.
They can do
And
that.
there we go. Yeah. So first one is, these are on the 2 cops left in the street next to Koskov and the rest of the party. So one of them just takes the first cop down, and the second one takes down the second as well. As they are already shot by Koskov basically in the face. And from about 50 feet away, they sort of line up, and as one, they fire out in a ricochet, like a firing squad, basically, for these 2 cops on the other side of the street. 5 bullets tear into them, and they are dead against the wall in a matter of moments. They don't have a clear line of sight on the house where Marcus is right now with the other cop. So, Catherine, it is
You
your
say-
turn.
They're after Millie. We have to make sure she's all right. And I'm gonna using my southern. That's right. She's pretending to be an American. They're after Millie. We gotta make sure she's all right. And because her accent's terrible for American, and she's gonna she make it to the house, like inside.
You could run to the house. You spend your whole
Mhm.
action running to the house.
Whole action. Yeah, she'll start running to the house. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, essentially dashing there. Tennessee
Mhm.
Gray.
Tennessee looks like he's about to make a move on the cops, and then the ricochet of just this line of bullets, and he holds back and he looks around. Holy shit! All right, Koskov, Lucian, into the car, and he runs for the car and tries to get that started.
Okay, roll me a drive auto.
Be a hard success.
Nice. The car is running as you fire it up. Go ahead.
As he fires it up, he'll lean his head out the window and he'll call towards the house and say, "Get her into the car. We don't know who these people are.
So, you will note that it is a fair distance to get Millie across the road and back into the car, but that's fine. Marcus Jordan, there is a cop. He's just possibly murdered Millie Addams in front of you. He killed his friend.
Marcus is going to stride forward, and as soon as he gets within 10 feet, he's going to fire his first shot. And let's see. That is a hit. That'll be for 6. And so as he,
6 is enough to kill him, yeah.
as he takes the shot, he's going to say, "Your power is perceived, not factual." And he just fires and blows this guy apart.
Most of his head comes off. Yeah.
He's going to rush into Millie.
All right, yeah, she is bleeding and swiftly going to unconsciousness due to the blood loss and shock. But you can reach her. Koskov.
So Koskov, he sees these 5 people approaching. He's heard Marcus say that they shot Millie. So Koskov is actually going to do 2 things. He's going to move up to this group that came to assist. And just be like, "Gentlemen, there is an altercation here. They're going to try to help your friend. And if you need, I can get you new hardware. It's pretty dated, what you have."
The group of them still have their rifles lowered, and at ready. And one of them will call out, "We heard Millie's in trouble. What's going on here?"
The cops, they came for her. Because they saw us talking to her. But I'm not sure. I think she might be hit. We are going to help her. Do not worry. We are good people.
He points towards the car where Tennessee Gray. "No one leaves. Understood?"
Are we still in initiative order?
Yeah.
Let me confer with my colleagues and tell them.
Yeah, 3 of them are going to follow you over while the other 2 run to the house to check on Millie. I guess we could be out of turn order now, really, as most of the fighting is over. However, what you do begin to hear as they run over is a police siren, as the sounds of gunfire fire out across Harlem.
The second I hear, and the chance that I can, that Millie's been shot, Lucian's running straight into the building as fast as he can.
Okay. Yeah, you rush in to see that she has been shot in the stomach. Marcus Jordan and Catherine Jordan are over her at this point, but it was a point-blank shot, and a gut wound is not something that's going to be easy to handle.
No. Did it go all the way through? Can I see if it went all the way through?
It did, yeah. The force of the bullet went out through her back.
That's pretty good. Okay, in that case, Lucian's going to do basically stabilize her and stem the bleeding. So basically put pressure on the wound, front and back, tell her to lie still. Doctory stuff that Redundant doesn't know. So I'm going to do... what would you like me to roll?
I'll roll me first aid, yeah. Yeah.
Yes. That is a hard success of a 22.
Lovely jubbly. Yes, you managed to stitch her up in such a manner that it's a field dressing, basically. You think that will help her at the very least. The 2 other guys who run in with rifles say, "Cops are coming. Come with us now."
Yeah,
You want to live.
The doctor, as soon as she saw the doctor walk in, Catherine went into the bedroom, because she assumes this is a really small house, like apartment kind of thing, and she's gonna grab a few extra men's shirts if they're there. Just grab a couple and a change or 2 of ladies' clothing, because we're gonna have some blood on us. So she's just gonna grab just like outfit, and then rush out back to everybody.
Okay. So you rush back down. Are you following the 2 gentlemen with rifles They are leading you over to the house from which they came, by the looks of things, where there are 2 other people who have basically opened this garage door in such a way that you can get inside.
We put the car inside.
Yeah, is it big enough for the car?
It's a garage.
Yeah, I mean, it's a garage, yeah.
Yeah. Stuff.
We've got to get out of here.
They're gonna canvas this entire area.
Can I?
This place to hide sometimes is right next to fire.
Is it a gas stove, Will? In the house?
Stove? Probably, yeah.
Can I, like, you know, like the gas stove, like
Just roll me a luck roll.
Hot
See if there's a gas stove in
okay.
there.
Oh boy, not much of that. No, there's no gas stove in here.
Unfortunately, the Addams are not owners of a gas stove.
It's a wood burning. Okay, that's fine.
So we all get back to the car, and they want us to drive the car into their garage.
Correct.
Are they pointing rifles at us?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if it looks like you're not going to go, they seem militant, let's say, and insistent.
Should we go with them or not? We have to make a decision right now.
Yeah.
I think we should stay.
All right. I don't trust them. You know, coming out of their house with guns like that, whatever. And pulls into the garage.
I trust them more than the police at this point. So.
Enemy of my enemy, Tennessee.
So, Millie Addams is brought inside along with a car into this garage where you find about 7 or 8 gentlemen who all have rifles, seemingly very quickly. And they shut the garage door as the sound of sirens sort of falls behind you. And one of them, who appears to be their leader, they all seem to be following this man. Sort of like, I guess, like awkwardly raps on the door, on the window of the car. Get out.
Oh, I have a bad leg, so just excuse me. I just need a second. Start to climb out.
Okay. So you're brought out of the car, and they're no longer pointing guns at you, but they have the guns at the ready. And 2 of the men are going to sort of soldier carry Millie, if not just physically carry her, out through a door and into what looks like a house beyond. It looks like.
Can I stay with her? I want to stay with her.
Yeah.
Man is doctor.
Yeah, the guy in the lead says. Actually, roll me a persuasion check, Ernest.
All right.
Can I assist with that?
Sure. How are you assisting? Looks like he's succeeded. Actually,
I've succeeded. Yeah, 31.
But yeah, he's like he looks at you. Maybe you show your credentials, and
He was bandaging
like,
her up in the house.
Well, I was the one
so
who
that
did
probably-
the original first
go
aid.
with her. Keep an eye on him, though.
Yes, will do.
And the rest of them who don't go in with Ernest stay in the garage with you. No words are exchanged. You are allowed to be together as a group, but they are most clearly watching you. It's pretty dark in here as well. A couple of lanterns are on, that kind of thing. Ernest, back in the main room, Millie is laid down on a table where you're allowed to set to work with her, and they are watching you.
They can watch all they want.
Well, yeah, I mean, they're making sure that you're doing a good job, I guess. They do seem genuinely concerned for Millie's life, but they don't have any kind of medical training themselves, at least not to the degree that you have. So, in the garage, the leader kind of says, wait here a minute. Wait for things to calm down. We'll get some answers.
You got anything
You'll
to
notice
eat?
that they-
Anything to drink?
Yeah, they'll bring over some water and a bit of food. It's amiable enough, but you will notice that all of these men have a bunch of prison tattoos all over them, which Koskov may recognize. In fact, Koskov, let's see if there's an appropriate skill for this.
I was gonna say, does Catherine recognize any criminal?
Yeah, anyone that
tattoos?
would know anything about prison tattoos, I guess, could roll an education.
Okay.
Yeah. I walk up to one of them and be like, you have done same as I, and I show him my tattoo on my hand. It's like, that is American version of this from Russia. Notice you have Springfield 1922 solid rifle. I can get you better.
He kind of grunts in acknowledgement. Anyone that has knowledge of these tattoos and succeeded on their check would recognize these men to be one or part of Stephanie St. Clair's gang here in Harlem, who are they are exempt from mafia control. Stephanie St. Clair was actually a real life gangster who was never fell under the control of the mafia, but was still pretty badass and a real gambler as well. But these men work on, let's say, the gray areas of the law, and just due to how quickly they had access to rifles, you suspect that they're probably quite resistant to police control at the best of times. He kind of nods, but doesn't say anything about any kind of deal. And he says, "The boss will be here in a minute. Then maybe we can talk."
Da. Would you like vodka?
He pulls out his flask, offers him a drink.
He takes it. Yeah, no stranger to hard liquor.
Good. It's good when making deal.
He agrees, and maybe 10-15 minutes later, you see a woman entering the garage, and she's short compared to the rest of the guys in here, who are all fairly intimidating type figures. But she's fairly short, wears a hat, and a long, very pretty dress as well, which would denote at least some kind of wealth, perhaps, despite the somewhat slummish surroundings that you find yourself in around here in Harlem. She is smoking a cigarette. A long sort of Cruella de Vil style cigarette, I would suspect.
Yeah, cigarette holder.
Exactly. And she kind of daintily walks into the room and looks at you. Well, I hear that y'all got Millie into some trouble, or maybe helped her out of it. She looks to whoever looks to speak for them. Or speak for you, rather.
By virtue of your fine law enforcement, inadvertently got her in trouble, helped her out of it. In all honesty.
I see. So what exactly happened? I've got 4 dead cops on my doorstep, and that's going to cause me a whole lot of trouble. As far as I can tell, it was you lot who started firing at them. My man came in at the last moment.
Mr. Addams asked me to check on his wife. I did so. The law enforcement followed us here. They were taking her into custody. I made a promise to a man, and I intended to keep it. If you want to cast blame for the death of these police officers, 2 of them died by my hand.
She smiles at that. Well, that is good to know. So you've spoken with Hilton then, meaning that you've got some kind of dealings with the cops yourself. Now, I'm going to ask you this once, and I hope that you all answer me this honestly, because I do not like liars. Who the hell are you people?
I'm a reporter. My name is Marcus Jordan. If you have a paper, I could probably point to a byline. I'm doing a bit of a research into Hilton Addams' inappropriate incarceration. These are my associates. We have just recently become reacquainted. I believe I have gotten them into trouble. If there are 2 professions.
There are 2 professions in life, Mr. Jordan, that I hate. First of which are lawyers, the second are reporters. But at least you've been honest with me, which is more than I can say of most lawyers.
Fantastic.
What about the rest of you? She looks towards Catherine. You're a pretty little thing.
Oh, I'm his wife.
That isn't an answer.
Oh, my name's Catherine Jordan. Catherine didn't have any weapons out.
Looks towards Tennessee and Koskov.
My name is Koskov Romanovich. I am known to some. I've been talking with your men. I would like to do business with you. So perhaps it is your lucky day, even in face of all this
I'm not
chaos.
sure if we should start talking about business just yet, Mr. Romanovich. First things first, I don't do business with white men. They are not worthy of my trust. But perhaps you are different. We'll see about that. Certainly you're not an American white man, which is, say, more trustworthy. And Mr.
That is
Gray,
true.
was that?
Yes, ma'am, I'm Tennessee Gray, and I must say that you look fantastic. I love that dress that you're wearing, and I want to thank you for being hospitable today. Now, I'm something of an amateur explorer, and I was here in New York City looking for funds for my next expedition, and I ran across some old friends, and as Marcus here has said, we've been dragged into this nasty police business, and we're just trying to get out of this with our lives, and maybe we can help some people in the meantime. And that's the truth of it.
See. Well, as far as I'm concerned, you just murdered 4 cops on my doorstep, so I have you to thank for that.
But you look like the type of woman who can handle such impediment.
It'll be okay in the long run, I'm sure. But in the meantime, it is something of an inconvenience, but nonetheless, if Millie was in danger, which it looks like she was, then you've done us a service by helping us there. But it does leave me with the question as to exactly what to do with the group of you. After all, I don't know you from Adam, and you've already proven yourselves to be killers. So, the question really is whether or not you're my kind of killers, or if you're not.
Well, we are the kind of killers that are trying to help your friend. So, we do have that going for us.
What interest do you have in Mr. Addams, and don't give me any bullshit about being reporters searching for a true story.
Mr. Addams was looking into something that concerns us. Something that got him incarcerated. Something that has to do with the House of Juju and a man named Mordechai Fleming.
I see. I'm afraid you're going to have to be a bit more. I'm afraid you're going to have to be a bit more specific than that, Mr. Jordan. Exactly what is it that you're interested that Mr. Addams was looking into? Anything that goes on in Harlem should be run by me first.
Then you are aware of the murders that are occurring within the neighborhood. That Mr. Addams was trying to arm you all to make sure that there was a civic protection, as the police are uninterested in coming this far uptown.
Incorrect. Addams was not the one organizing this. I was. He was doing it on my orders.
As you say, then you know that I am telling the truth.
Perhaps you are. Well, bringing to bear the ones responsible for whatever happened to Hilton is unfortunately something which is even too dangerous for us. You see, getting involved in the police force is a surefire way to get myself and my business in a whole lot more trouble, so you understand why we've been a little bit more discreet than the group of you have.
Understandable.
That being said, you are not affiliated with me or mine in any known capacity, so perhaps you could be useful to us. After all, I can't exactly send my man in there. If one of them gets caught, all of us get caught. But you bunch of white men and women going in there? No one would suspect it's leading back to old Stephanie, so, this House of Juju, you're interested in checking it out, huh?
Da.
All right. Well, maybe we can strike up some kind of deal indeed then, Mr. Romanovich. Because I want to know what's going on in there just as well as you do. Maybe not for the same reasons, but that doesn't matter so much as long as our interests align. And you have proven yourselves to be cop killers, which is a rite of passage amongst our folks. So, how about this then? make sure to patch up Millie, and your guy helps us out, that doctor in there, and in the meantime, we help you out getting into that house of Juju. How does that sound to you?
Fantastic.
Sounds like we
We're
have
probably
a
gonna need weapons.
Oh, weapons are our speciality. We have quite a few left over from the Great War that we use, and a couple of contacts to get some equipment on your hands. I'm sure we can help you in that area.
You got any, concealable shotguns?
She like grins at that. I like the straightforward nature of you, Mr. Great. Why, yes, I do. And they are procurable for you on a loan basis. I'm sure you understand why you're doing the business here for me.
Well, that sounds good to me. We don't know what to expect in the House of Juju, and obviously Harlem's crawling with crooked cops. Just want to make sure I can protect myself.
But what I find difficult to believe, I suppose, is that group of 5 of you are just traipsing around Harlem because you're interested in this, and you don't have any other kind of funding or interests behind you.
Well, I'm willing to tell you this right now, ma'am. These folks who are committing these murders, we have reason to believe that we might be next, and I believe that if we can get to the bottom of this and figure out who's really behind what's going on here in New York City, that's our best chance of surviving.
Roll me a persuasion check.
And have I told you how pretty my dress looks today? Can I do a hard charm instead?
Sure.
All right. Nope.
She squints her eyes. I'm afraid I just find it too hard to believe that a group of you would find yourselves here so armed and so determined if something wasn't driving you onwards, aside from the fear of your own lives. After all, you are just reporters and housewives. Isn't that right, Miss Jordan?
Miss St. Clair, if I would, then let us talk as business people. My friend here, and he points over to Koskov, he is a bit of a import-export magnet. And as you know, the House of Juju is doing their business through an Emerson Imports. If something were to happen to both the House of Juju and Emerson Imports, then perhaps there would become a vacuum. And who better to serve the vacuum than a local constituency? Maybe it doesn't matter if we are being funded, but that we could potentially fund you.
I do have contacts I could put you with, should you take this place, this vacuum.
That is a tempting business proposal. After all, if there were this vacuum, then it would only be right for someone else to step into the shoes. But I do like to know who I'm doing business with. So, how about this? You give me one name, and maybe we can do business. Who is it that you work for?
There is a man that we worked with. His name was Jackson Elias. He put
Our
us on
eyebrows
this
raised.
path.
Jackson Elias, eh? It'll sadden you to know then that he is dead.
Oh, we're very much aware. That's why we suspect we're next, and I really enjoy living.
You know, I heard a rumor that there were a couple of folks, strange folks, at the Chelsea Hotel that night. A couple of them went back with the police, got out the next day. You wouldn't be those same individuals, would you? Because if you were, that would mean that you were the last people to see Jackson Elias alive.
He was unfortunately gone whenever we arrived at the Chelsea. And as you can see by the face of my doctor friend in the other room, the police were very adamant that he cooperate with them. But of course, they know more than they let on.
Whatever is at the House of Juju is well protected by the police. By Captain Robson and some others as well. Whenever we start getting close, they make it clear that our whole operation will be shut down, so we've learned to steer clear. So when you do go there, you can expect a fair amount of resistance, one way or another, from the boys in blue or from whatever nutheads are down there. So, I'll stop asking you questions, and you'll have to stop answering me, so we can proceed with our business. Some equipment for you all to check out the house. Did you leave the Emerson Import stuff to us? After all's done.
There.
Well, that works out just fine for me, then. I'm so happy that we could have come to some kind of agreement today. I would have hated to have had to kill you all here as well.
It would have been unfortunate for you to have tried this. Yes. And I hope that we could continue to work together in the future.
Catherine kind of gives a little smirk to Koskov because she was
style,
thinking
Mr.
that.
Roman.
Nice to try.
like
Marcus
this
has no smirk because he knows they would have been murdered by a 6-pack full of rifles in an enclosed space. So he's just he's gone from a pucker factor of 11 to right around an 8.
She steps forward to shake your hand, Koskov.
And he will shake it firmly, but with care.
Gently.
All right then. So, yes, she smiles and leads you into the house proper. Come on in. Why don't you make yourselves at home? And lets you into a house which is large, if not like the best kept house, I guess. And she pours you all some strong liquor, as well as the doc, who's probably finished up at this point. In the immediate medical procedures with Millie Addams, who looks like she will probably live, although it will take her a fair amount of time before she truly recovers from this grievous wound. Stephanie St. Clair sits down with a glass of something strong, and she says, well, there is one other thing. If you do come across that Captain Robson and it's a compromising position, or find out anything about him which could be used for leverage, then I would be deeply appreciative of that. After all, he has caused us a fair amount of troubles over the past few weeks.
Perhaps we can make sure to do this.
Oh, don't worry. The first chance I get, I will mail it to you personally.
There is a bounty out on his head as well, I should let you know, amongst some organizations such as mine. You are to reap those rewards, and you just let me know.
Catherine was like, having her cup, but then as soon as she said bounty, like her head's like, whoop, swivels over.
Koskov narrows his eyes at that.
Hey, I don't believe any of us are bounty hunters. Good to know. Perhaps other people we meet will know.
You just
What if we
murdered
happen
4
to-
cops in the street, Dr. Ernest. I beg to differ.
If
Yes,
we happen to know
Doctor.
any bounty
We are
hunters or
business
assassins, what would that bounty be, per se?
Oh, she's gonna
Technically,
roll
murdered
a
too.
she's gonna roll a psych check on that one, Lindy. She narrows her eyes at you. Well, that is an interesting question. Let's just say we'd make it very worth your while, Miss Jordan.
I don't know, my while's worth an awful lot. And I'll just...
And if I am able to do this instead of Miss Jordan, perhaps I will let you use bounty towards First Order.
That would be most amenable. You see, I run here a multi-million-dollar industry, and, well, I'm very generous towards my friends, especially those who can help me out.
I look forward to helping you out then.
It's not often I write a blank check, but this Robson, he really deserves it.
That I am sure.
So, as the party strike up a deal to assassinate Captain Robson on the orders of Stephanie St. Clair and the St. Clair Street gangs, that is where we are going to end tonight's episode of Call of Cthulhu, Masks of Nyarlathotep. Thank you guys for all the subs going in here today. Man, what a episode again. We just get into more and more trouble every week. The kill count for today's episode was 4, nearly 5, as a bunch of cops were murdered in the streets of Harlem, which I'm sure won't have any long, side consequences or side effects or anything like that for the party. Be fine. Their actions do exist in a vacuum, so I wouldn't worry about it too much, but we will find out next week what happens next with our story here. So thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the show, let us know. If you haven't followed the show yet, hit the follow button. You can join us for more Cthulhu questions and mysteries, I guess. And we have Warhammer coming up in just a few minutes' time. The Great Conspiracy continues here at 4 o'clock every Wednesday. So stick around in a couple minutes. We'll be doing that. And let's open a giveaway for a set of tabletop loot dice. ! Loot in the chat, my friends. But let's go around the cast and the crew. Did we enjoy ourselves? Where can we find you guys online? Let's start with Greg. How was that episode today for you?
Man, I love Cthulhu very, very much. But as I said in stream, I say it again, that was my most uncomfortable situation that I've been in yet, playing Cthulhu. The idea of basically like anarchy, it was like the purge there for a minute. I wasn't real, like, as a person, I wasn't real down with it just because of the principle aspect of it. But violence against anybody that is defenseless, that's Greg letting him bleed through to Marcus a bit. I couldn't abide by that. And so it was an awful situation that's how it would have rolled. So I liked it and hated that moment. It was one that I'll never forget. As I'll never forget most of the sessions that we play here on Wednesdays from 1 to 4 Eastern. My name is Grimjack21502 on the Twitches and the Twitters. You can find me here. You can find me there. We've got May Black Roses Bloom tonight at 8 Eastern. I'll let Dawn drop on that. Some more fun things coming up. But ladies and gentlemen, be back here next week where I'm sure Marcus isn't targeted for death because he murdered 2 of the cops that beat Lucian point blank. We'll see. I can't wait. I like this character too.
Yeah, the Mask of Nyarlathotep in particular hits some very, let's say, overt themes of police violence in 1920s New York on racially charged violence as well. So it's definitely some bad stuff, and that escalated very quickly with those 4 cops just getting murdered. But yeah, it wasn't, let's say, unjustified because they did very swiftly turn to violence against Millie. But yeah, that was a dark moment. I felt while the party were very happy to just open fire on a bunch of police officers. So yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. Catherine, Lindy, how was tonight's episode for you?
Oh man, Catherine's just like, how can you shoot the cops? They're on. Fine. Catherine didn't shoot any. I didn't kill anybody this week, but I killed a whole lot of people like week before last, so I guess this makes up for it. The good news is they can really trace bullets very well at all in the 20s. So, and we killed all the cop witnesses. So, it's just gonna be, we're under suspicion, real hardcore again, and it'll be great.
They don't plant evidence or anything. It's all good.
They don't plant evidence. Yeah, they're totally gonna plant evidence.
That's not something they ever do.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. It's okay, we will buy some alibis. I would loved it. Can't wait for next week when we actually get to the House of Juju. I love this like contract, like kill contract rivalry apparently between Koskov and Catherine. Totally not giving anything away there, but you can find me online at LaughLoveLindy on Twitch and Twitter, where I'm playing in a bunch of tabletop RPG games because I'm a complete addict and it's my drug. So check it out.
Fantastic stuff. And Tom, how was that tonight for Dr. Lucian Ernest?
It's so hard to play a character that is adverse to violence. It's so hard. So many times I wanted to shoot them because I knew what they did, but it's just not in Lucian's character to be the aggressor. You know, he will if it's a last resort, but normally he'll just duck into cover, and he kicks in at the end when everyone needs patching up. Let the others do all the killing and shooting. And I'd like to just say, as Catherine, Lucian has not killed a single person. I think he hasn't killed a single person this entire campaign. I'm sure that's going to continue. 100% sure that's going to continue. But it was really good. It was really good. I'm really enjoying it. As Lindy said, I can't wait to get to the House with Juju. That is going to be very fascinating. And yeah, apparently we're all going to be turning into bounty hunters now, so that's nice. That's nice.
Turning?
Yeah, well. For some of us, anyway. Yes, you can find me. I'm Redundant UK. You can find me on Twitch. I stream Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 11 a.m. UK time, other times, moon times. I play a variety of games. At the moment, I'm playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Alexio's Quest to Bang, and back to Dragon Age Inquisition because I just fancied it. You know, it's Dragon Age Inquisition. Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Alrighty. Great stuff. And Pruitt, how was tonight's episode for Koskov?
Oh, I loved it. Koskov doesn't feel like he's alive unless he's has bullets firing like at him. So this was getting back into the pocket for him. Getting a new contract. It's just like I haven't dabbled in that hobby in a few years, so it'll be good to get that, maybe get some new business. The chance to open new business here in the States. It's something he's long sought after. So I could not pass up that opportunity there. Hopefully we can get this going here, get the Harlem connection rocking. But yeah, I'm Pruitt, one half of WebDM. I think we just had a video drop during the game here. So check that out. We got games Tuesdays and Thursdays on our Twitch channel. Play on my Starward Bound Spelljammer inspired game Starward Bound with this man right here, Greg. We do that on Tuesday nights and have a lot of fun in space. So anyway, I can't wait to get back next week and see if we can get to some more action because Koskov, he's got. By the way, Will, since my hands are metal, do I have fingerprints still?
Who knows? Probably not. Probably not.
Just saying.
Or like thimbles. I imagine like thimbles.
Just kind of dimpled.
Yeah.
Anyway, I can't wait till next week, and I'll stick around. I have to go scrape my tattoos off and become a dwarf.
Fantastic, let's do it. And last but not least, Don, how was that tonight?
Oh man, I loved both parts of the episode. The investigative stuff early on with shaking down or speaking to of witnesses, and then I really enjoyed the cop scene. Not so much for the action because it was all over real fast, like Cthulhu usually is. But it's that like split second. Got to make a choice. What do I do? How do I handle this chaos? And I enjoyed that aspect of it. I think Tennessee's killed one person in his life, and it was in self-defense. It was a cultist who was like, swinging a sword at him. And I think he's okay with action. He gets ramped up. He loves adrenaline, but this body count's starting to get a little large, and we're starting to get off track from what he considers to be what he's interested in into more like, can we make money off of murdering people? That might not be something that he's okay with. And it's going to be fun to kind of start exploring that. But in the meantime, I love this game. I can't wait for the next session. Like Greg said, tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, May Black Roses Bloom, which is a dark Dragonlance D&D 5e game that I'm running on Greg's channel. It's been fantastic. It's been so much fun. Tonight's going to be a lot of fun. And then after that, you'll be able to find me back here next week on Wednesday.
Fantastic stuff. Well, next week for more Call of Cthulhu Masks of Nyarlathotep every 1 o'clock Eastern here on a Wednesday on Encounter Roleplay. So join us for that. But we've got Warhammer coming up in just a few minutes' time. So we're going to head out here. So until next time, my friends, try not to roll too many nat ones because we want to be laughing when you do. Good night, everybody. Bye!
До свидания.